don't know what happened there, mate. Everything just locked up.
Yeah.
Right, we're live. We're live again. We've probably lost all the bloody viewers now. We had 800 with us at that point.
Did you tell them he was coming over here?
Yeah. We got 8. I'm sure they'll find their way over again. But anyway, John, what were your thoughts on that game?
Just embarrassingly bad, mate. Just absolute shocker. No. Take the ball by the horns. You're in a relegation battle. You're trying to fucking get out of a situation, you know, and it was just embarrassing, mate. I don't really know. I can't look, you know, I was Moyes in longer than you were up to the Palace game, but genuinely, it's almost like he's doing it on purpose. It's almost like he's doing it as a wind-up to me. I don't really understand. What did he see in last week's game that meant for him to go, I'm going to pick Souček again?
John saying, Moyes sacked while you were off air. He ain't, is he?
No.
I don't mate, honestly, I don't know. I'm lost for words. And the thing is, what's so frustrating is the fact that he keeps on repeating the same things. It's just not working. Why does he? I mean, today he really reverted, didn't he? Because Skamaka weren't unfit. He came on the bench. He came on the pitch. So why? You know, what I mean, Cresswell. Why Cresswell? You know what? Why not use Johnson out there? Up against it was mad. It really was.
He's just hung himself out to dry. You know, he's hung himself out to dry. I said in the past with players like Antonio, he hung them out to dry, leaving them in the team too long. He's done the same with Souček, but he's done the same with himself. And as someone said in the chat, he must either be in denial or he's senile, because at the end of the day, he's committing professional suicide. Because how Benrahma, people can say what they want about end product and all that, but there's no doubt that Benrahma's been our most forward-thinking player this season. And now he's on the bench again, and Souček sitting in the middle. This ain't a witch hunt for Souček, by the way. This is a case of saying, what have you seen for you to bring Souček back into the bloody team again? What have you seen from last week's performance? He was as anonymous as ever, and you literally put him back in the team again today for the most important game of the season. And we made them look. We was all saying in the talking heads thing, there won't be a lot of goals in it. They don't score a lot of goals. We set up against a team that don't score goals to stop them scoring goals that they don't score. So I don't understand
just fucking listen about it. Honestly, it doesn't make any sense at all,
mate. It's baffling. It's absolutely baffling. I think someone needs to seriously now. Look, I still don't think they're going to pull the trigger before Everton game. I genuinely don't.
No.
I think they should, but I don't think they will. And I'm just, it just beggars. It absolutely beggars belief, mate. It absolutely beggars belief for me. It's embarrassing. He's embarrassing himself. That's the thing. It's professional suicide. I don't get it.
But John, I mean, you didn't want to get to the stage where you had to be Moyes out, but they've stuck with him for. But what I mean is, you've stuck with him for so long.
Yeah.
And even then, that was months ago. Like, and for you to flip, how are we still having this conversation?
Because the board are cowards. Because as much as we say Moyes plays cowardly football, to which to some extent I agree, the last few months especially, right? But the board are cowards, because I don't genuinely think that they want to employ, I've said it before, they might have to now, but they don't want to employ managers that think for themselves, that have their own voice. No. They want puppets. And look, Moyes is as to blame as the board. They're all as culpable as each other, because at the end of the day, look, Moyes had done brilliant for us for 2 years. You know, I was singing his praises longer than most. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the board are sitting there now. God rest his soul, Gold, but Sullivan now and the others. What must they be thinking?
Do you know
what are they actually thinking, mate, now?
I don't know. But do you know what I said when my initial reaction? Right, and I do completely believe this, and I do, and I know that you probably won't, because you won't want to take away from what he did. But what we've seen in the last year, where he's been completely unaware of what's been failing, he's been completely unable to find something new to sort of push us on, nothing at all. Doesn't it make you feel like that was he just stumbled on something that worked in that 2 years, and he's driven it into the fucking ground, mate? He has.
I actually don't think he stumbled across it. I genuinely think someone said it on one of our shows the other day, and I've looked into it a bit and sort of literally done a bit of looking at Everton and that, I think literally our Everton was set up 15 years ago. So I don't think he stumbled across it.
It's what he
true
does.
though, isn't it? It's true though. So he hasn't stumbled across it. It just worked again because no one's seen that type of football for that length of time.
No.
Look, I'll love Moyes for all he did and all that. And like you said, I've never been someone that wants to be in that category of saying he's got to go. I've been saying it for a couple of months. I know people have been saying it longer than me, but it's not a game of I told you so. This is a game now of what's right for the club. And if the board have got any balls about them, they will make that move. There's
look at that from Just George. Even if Sullivan didn't give a fuck about the football and he only cares about the business, there is nothing about this situation that makes sense. Even if it's just the business side of it.
It's almost like it makes no sense. It makes no sense Moyes playing the same system and the same players. It makes no sense the board are still... I mean, they've come out and publicly backed him, but it looks like they are actually backing him. You know, not just a vote of confidence scenario. It looks like they are actually backing him. And it's just baffling. It's baffling from a business. It's almost like they are willing to go down to the wire to either save face, save a bit of money, because they don't want to ship anything out in because they're probably going to sell in the summer, we're led to believe, yeah? So
Easter, before the summer, that's when that embarrassment clause expires.
It's almost like they are dangling with our clubs, the fans' clubs' position in the Premier League, right, for the sake of their own pittance. And if you tell me a businessman does that, that's fine. But if you tell me that Sullivan is supposedly a businessman and a West Ham fan, then that's absolute tripe.
Do you think it could be? Look, this is like fucking bang on conspiracy theory stuff here, right? But Kretinsky put a lot of money into the club. He bought into it so that he could make a profit out of it. Do you think there could be an element of Sullivan forcing Kretinsky's hand, being so incompetent, getting it to the point where Kretinsky's looking at this going, what the fuck? My investment's going down the pan. I'm going to have to step in here. Do you think he could be trying to force...
What, and make him buy the club?
Maybe, I don't know, because he's refusing to act. So, and he's the one. Sullivan is still the one that holds all the cards.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I mean, look, at the moment, anything's possible because nothing else makes sense. So even the most outrageous of skeptical comments could be true, because I'm baffled and I'm usually very level-headed. And genuinely, right, I am absolutely at a loss. When I saw the starting lineup, the Soucek thing, even Freddie, my son, it's embarrassing. It's absolutely embarrassing. You are flogging a dead horse, and I mean that totally respectfully.
And look at the change, John. So he knew because look at the change when Ben Rama came on. At last, he didn't bring Fornals off. He done the right thing. He put Fornals in the middle. He took Soucek off for Benny, put Benny out wide. We've been crying for that for ages. But do you know what? It's almost like which proves that he does know what the weaknesses are. But he's a defiant bastard. He can't not know what the weaknesses are.
No, I know. If he's a Premier League manager, which he is, he's had hundreds of games. He's a professional at his job. Why is he not seeing what we're seeing, or at the very least? Why is he not making the changes to save his own job and reputation? That's what absolutely baffles me, Nick. In your job, if you was doing something pony and week in, week out, you was getting
you get removed.
Results, well, no, but you'd listen.
Yeah.
You would make changes. You think, oh, maybe I've got to do something different here.
But probably what would happen, because by the time you do get to that point and you evolve into a spiral where you're failing and you're doing the things wrong over and over again, doesn't matter what walk of life it is, you get removed from that position. You'll get sacked, because it's very difficult for anyone to sort of dig themselves out of it. Now, look, Leicester lost today. They did, and the bookies, the bookies do seem to know what's going on. They don't put these odds on things for nothing. They do a little bit of digging. Sean Dyche is 12-1 favourite. Is he outside in the top 5?
For us.
For us, and then you've got Pochettino and Tuchel, who are in 3rd and 4th place, and you've got Thomas Frank, who's just signed a contract with Brentford, but that don't mean much if you buy him out. No, but then you've got Brendan Rodgers is a 4-1 favourite. Now, there's rumours that Leicester can't afford to buy Rodgers out of his contract, so it could be the case that there could be something done there. Would you take Rodgers? I would. I know loads of people don't want him, but I like his style of football.
There's not many people I wouldn't take.
Yeah.
I just think now a change is as good as a rest, and it looks like now. I don't know if he's lost the changing room or the dressing room, but the players look as lost as anybody as well. And the players must be looking. I mean, Declan Rice, right?
Yeah,
world-class player, which we know he is, captain of the club. He must be looking around going, oh, not him again. Why are you playing Thomas next to me? Surely he must be thinking that. He probably hasn't said anything. I don't imagine he's that sort of character. No. But players on that pitch must be looking at other players going, oh, not you again.
I know.
And that's the thing. It's all a joke, mate. We're slowly becoming a joke again, and I can't. I hate it.
I know. Can you hear that? I'm just literally going to try and phone Jonathan back. He told me to give him a call in a bit. So let's see if I can get Jonathan on. Hello,
Nicholas.
Hello, Jonathan. Can you talk now?
I can now, mate. Sorry, but you've got two cane coursers, and it's food time. You've got to keep an eye on them.
How's your hand after your little accident?
Fully recovered.
Good.
Fully recovered.
Good.
Yeah, all good, all good. Accidents happen.
I know. Right. So, so Jonathan, talk to me about the situation.
You can't really blame Moyes for this. And I'm joking. You've gone too early, Nick. You've gone way too early.
I know. Give him time. Look at what he's done. Look at what he's done for us.
No. But hang on a minute.
Look at what he's done.
No. Don't start. You're turning this round into an "I told you so" moment. Don't start doing that and calling out fans that was supportive. That ain't.
I did tell you so, though, John, didn't I? John, I did tell you so.
Oh, is this what this call's about?
I did tell you so. But anyway, go on, Jonathan. Anyway.
Now, let me tell you. Funny you should say that, because I was going to say to you. So I got back from Tenerife last night, about 4 o'clock in the morning. I absolutely knackered. I went with my mate. It was his birthday and all that. So I needed to spend the day with the missus and the dogs. So I spent all day. And I wanted to get around to watching football, but I haven't watched the game. I'll admit it.
You don't need to, mate. It was shit.
I was going to... Yeah, no, I know that now. But I was thinking, I'm not going to watch it, and I'll check the result out afterwards, and I'm just hoping we were going to win. We're walking the dogs about sort of 4:30, get a text message. I went, oh, shit. My girlfriend goes, who is it? I went, oh, it's Nick from Claret and Booze. She goes, oh, I thought you liked that programme. I thought you liked Nick. I went, no, he's asked me to come on, We've obviously lost. He wants to tell me he told me so, didn't he?
No, I'm not. No, do you know what?
I'm joking.
But the thing is, like I said earlier on, this is the other issue now, right? And there are most people like John. It isn't a battle of wills. It's just some people have got different tipping points. But now, if you're at the stage now, and there's still, I'm not going to pinpoint anyone, but I think the West Ham the fans need to be unified now to show the board that the fans are against this. Because if there is division in the fan base, if there's division in media platforms, you've got one channel like us that, they're the nasty ones that want Moyes out, whilst you've got other channels saying, oh no, that you've got to give him more time, this, that, the other. It's about time now where everybody basically joined. Everybody needs to fucking get together now and do what you've got to do to get this guy out, because he's going to relegate us. He is. He's going to take us down.
Yeah, well, I think now
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, we've come back from the World Cup with we lost 4 out of 5 Premier League games and drawn 1 or something.
Yeah.
Or 3 out. He's going to have at this point. Yeah, of course. He's got to go. Look at the rest of the games we've got. Look at them. These were the easy games,
mate. We've got like I said. We know that David Moyes doesn't do well against anyone better level than him. He beats the shit teams if he wins. So we've got in the next 4 games 1 winnable fixture against Everton. Beyond that, you've got Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs. Now Newcastle are flying. Chelsea are not. You know who Potter needs to play, didn't you? He needs to play David Moyes at Chelsea. That's what he needs, and Spurs the same. But what I'm saying is, on paper, for David Moyes, we've got 1 winnable fixture in 4. Why would you give David Moyes that 1 winnable fixture? Because he'll probably fuck it up anyway. We need to give that to someone else. And even if he wins it, Jonathan, even if he wins that game, it means nothing, because Everton is shit as well.
Of course, it means nothing at this point. It's done. Obviously, it's done now. I mean, I probably shouldn't. Maybe I shouldn't be, but I think I think Nigel said it a few shows ago. He was on, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And with me now, I remember I've been through such misery with West Ham in the past.
Well, we all have, yeah.
But I don't let myself get there anymore.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the reasons why I've not gone like you at. Like it's one of the reasons why I've not been more pissed off about it. But looking back on it now, I mean, looking at it from that Liverpool game last year to now, he is I can't believe that they've kept him. It isn't. You made a really good point earlier in the show. I don't know who you was talking to, your brother. I think it might have been.
Yeah.
You said it's not actually David Moyes' fault that he's still here.
No, not now. It's actually
I mean,
he should still
we're
be
now
here.
looking at.
And that's exactly the same as it's not Thomas Souček's fault that he's still being put in the team.
No.
The person to blame is the person above the person we're pointing the fingers at.
Yeah.
And it all stems from the cowardness.
Here's the thing, right? I was, when you first went and other fans first went because of the form we had from Liverpool to now, or not to now, before the World Cup, I was one of those that was like, well, hang on a minute, look what he's done for the last couple of years. Fine, right? Then they kept him at the World Cup, and I thought, right, let's give him. And I again thought, hoping, give him the 3 games. The 3 games have gone, but now there's fucking 5 games are gone. He's got to go. Obviously, if they don't get rid of him now, this is malpractice, isn't it? I mean, this is like fucking going to a doctor. It's like going to a doctor with a lump, and then they're checking for everything except what they should be checking for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or,
but do you know what gets me, right? Clearly, we've been shit for quite a while. Now, you would imagine that the board have got to tap into what's happening on the training ground as well. You'd imagine they have. You'd imagine they talk to people, they talk to coaches, they talk to senior players. You'd imagine that they would be seeing something or hearing things from the training ground to say, look, no, nothing's changing. We're just doing it's the same thing over and over again. That's what we're doing, you know, because for you to stick with a manager in that sort of situation, you'd be wanting them to do something, to innovate, to try and rectify the situation. David Moyes has never attempted, not once, to do that. He hasn't, you know. It's fucking bizarre. No. It is.
Oh, it is bizarre. I mean, look at the lineup today. I mean, how can he not see that his team is slow and lacks creativity? Like, you've got 4. Your defenders are all, I don't know what the average age is. Let's just say 32. Yeah. I know Aguerd's 26. Maybe he brings it down. You've got, and the goalkeeper as well. I mean, and then you've got the midfield again. Nothing because Souček's in there, so we know that we've got a guy that passes the ball 8 times a game, maybe. You've got Fornals on the left. I love Fornals, but then you've got no pace, no creativity there.
Yeah.
An out of form Bowen. I mean, and then you drop. I don't know if he dropped Schumacher. It's fucking crazy.
I know.
It's crazy. I didn't even watch the game, but I looked at the stuff, and he brought Schumacher on at 76 minutes when you've been behind for half an hour.
I know.
Or whatever it was. It's actually mind-boggling. Maybe he wants to be fired. The weird thing is, he's got 6 months.
Well, he wants to pick up the paycheck. Do you reckon he wants to get paid off?
I thought he only had 6 months on his. I thought he only had 6 months on his contract. Maybe he loses the money if he quits. Huh?
Did he not sign? When's his contract up in the summer?
I thought he signed an extension 2 years at the beginning of last season. So it's a 2-year extension, which means this year I thought he's got like a few months left, right? This is bordering.
No, he's got another year after this one. He's got another year. Yeah.
I mean, fuck me, they paid Jack Wilshere $5 million just to retire, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I don't see. They did, didn't they?
And we're paying Cornet every week as well. That's even funnier.
Oh really? Actually, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
But
I don't know. You know what? We're going to end up. It's going to end up with fucking Warburton. Or actually, do you know what? I think it'll be Sean Dyche. If I had to put money on it, I bet the odds are really high on him.
Yeah, they probably no. For Sean Dyche?
Yeah,
I bet the odds are really
high.
It is now looking like a dogfight.
The odds are Sean Dyche is going to Everton. Apparently, he's at an advanced stage with Everton in terms of taking over from Frank anyway.
How far have we dropped where we're actually going to lose out on Sean Dyche? Do you know what I mean? Like, that is fucking unbelievable.
Yeah, but this goes back to conversations we've had recently, Nick, when you were saying, the board must be doing due diligence, looking for the next manager. And I was saying, no, they probably haven't even thought of it. It's almost like they're lazy.
That's a good point.
Can't be bothered.
It's a good point.
Look, we can blame Moyes all we want, right, for the playing situation, the players on the pitch, the lack of training during the World Cup, whatever you want to call it, the lack of change. But the board are doing exactly the same thing, but at a higher up level, because they are allowing nothing to change. They're doing nothing. They're not being proactive about it.
No.
No one's being proactive enough to change anything or do anything. I mean, I can just see a situation where we will be leaving 2 caretaker managers in charge, people that are already there, Nolan, Noble. They'll probably throw them in and just go do it till the end of the season or something like that, like Mickey Mouse become again.
And also, I know the table's still sort of tight at the bottom, but you lose 2 or 3 more games and you're 5 points adrift.
Oh, mate, people have been saying since before the World Cup, right? They've been going, oh, look, 1 win, we're in 8th place. The next week, 1 win, we're in 9th place. No, what I'm saying is, and then every week, no, but this has been a justification, John. And it's been like 10th place, 11th place, 12th place. Last week it was 13th. Now it's 14th. The net is tightening. No, but the net is tightening, you know?
Yeah, but that's not a justification. That is more of a saying, look, Moyes, 1 fucking win, slight tweak, win a game, take the game to the opposition, win it, you can get yourself out of trouble quite quickly. But he's absolutely, he can't do it. He just will not change. And I don't know why.
No, I know.
I don't know why. I think Jonathan's right to some extent. It's almost like he's doing it on purpose because it's that obvious. It's become laughable. And that's what
it's a joke.
I really feel let down by the geezer. But he's letting himself down first and foremost. But
the team he played today, the team he played today, correct me if I'm wrong. Bear in mind all the money.
I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 minute, Jonathan. Right now, everyone, as it says, literally, I want to try and get the ball take on this. So, what I have done, I've just texted Sean Whetstone. Right, I've texted him, and we're going to be phoning him next to raise everybody's blood pressure, probably. So we're going to try and find. He's going to come on. I'm going to phone him basically.
Oh, that's going to be golden, mate.
So we're going to try and find out what the board stance is on this, because as we know, Sean has got links in with the club. So we'll find out. We'll find out if anything has changed, if the narrative has changed. Okay. So
he's got to go now. Simple. He's got to go. It's one of those.
Sure.
Sean went after this call. He will. Yeah.
No, I've taken. Oh, Sean's got to go. Yeah. No, it's taken me quite a while, and but you can't. These are facts now. I mean, I remember I first came on the show with, I thought facts at the time, and then you was kind of painting a what if scenario. And fair enough, I was like, well, that's a what if, Nick. But to be fair, it doesn't mean that you've got a crystal ball and you're always going to be right. Unfortunately, nearly everything you said you was worried about happening since then has happened.
Yeah.
That doesn't always work out to be the case.
No, it doesn't. But like I say, when you look back now, there was just basically people were showing faith. I think everybody could see it. I think so. But because, especially now, when you look back, there was nothing like no tactical analysis. It's just it looks blatantly fucking obvious, doesn't it? It's almost like when people look back at Jimmy Savile after they found out he was a paedophile, and they see his past footage and they go, "Oh yeah, he was a paedophile." Yeah. But all the while,
that's actually right. Actually,
yeah.
But the thing is as well, though, I think a thing that sort of blindsided people like me and probably John as well is the change that. Because of the points where it was and because of what he'd done previously, I'm talking about prior to Liverpool, it didn't look like he needed to do that much to sort of change what was. No. But he didn't do it.
But the thing, there's been times this season where we said, drop Soufal, bring in Johnson, drop Soufal. He would drop Soufal, give Johnson a game, but then revert to type again.
Yeah.
He dropped Souček, bring him back last week. Was anonymous, but decided to start him again today.
But
listen, guys, if you look at the lineup today, sorry to interrupt, go back to the first game. I mean, all the way back, Newcastle against us on the first day of lockdown season. It's a long time ago, right?
It is.
That lineup, if you add in the only 2 players that wouldn't have been in that lineup would be a Gerd and what's his name, Paqueta.
Yes.
That's 2 new players to a lineup in 2 years, over what, a long fucking time now. Like, that is how. I know we made loads of signings since then, or this year we have, but there's nothing. It's going back to. I don't know many teams that you could look at now and be like, well, they've still got 90% of the players that played the first game of lockdown season, and they're still playing now. And not just that, they're facing relegation. Like, we're a team that needs to make flipping changes.
Yeah, no, I know.
I can't believe it.
I know, mate. I know. Right, John, I'm going to let you go because Sean just texted me to say he's about to go out some fucking
go on, mate.
somewhere for dinner.
No, go on.
Brilliant call as always, mate. Brilliant call as always.
Take care.
But before you go, Jonathan, I told you so. All right, mate? All right?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, Nick. This is the thing. You're fucking mobbing.
Listen. At least you ain't got to change your name to Mick and put a mask on.
Exactly. I would have. And imagine that. Oh, yeah. Worst case scenario.
I'd have loved that. I'd fucking loved that. All right. Take care, lads.
See you later, mate.
Show, obviously.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Brentford have just gone 1-0 up.
Have they?
Penalty, yeah.
Right. Here he comes.
Is he really coming on? Is he? Oh, sure.
Yeah. Can you hear him? Hello, Sean.
How do? Hello.
How are you? So you I know you're off out to dinner in a minute, but basically the reason we've called you is for obvious reasons. We've just lost.
What's happened?
You probably haven't even watched it. You probably haven't even watched it, have you? The game.
Of course I have.
Come on, tell we want an exclusive, right? We don't want the non.
I'm not going to go. Moyes has been sacked.
No,
it's been done before.
No,
right?
But come on, tell us. We know you talk to people, and I know that you've been saying that they're backing him. Come on, give us a bit of insight. What's going on?
Well, I don't think anything will change tonight, and I don't think anything will change in the week. I think the pressure's really on for the Everton game. And look, I don't have any special knowledge.
No.
But I think it's make or break at Everton. If he can't get anything out of Everton, and I probably mean a win, I think.
Yeah, but the thing is, Sean, even if we beat Everton, it proves nothing because they're shit as well.
I know that, but it didn't mean anything getting the draw to Leeds. But I really think that six defeat rule, he was on a tightrope. He was about to lose.
Are you telling me they're doing it on that basis? This 6-game thing. So if
I think it's that might sound a bit petty, but yes, right. I do. My understanding, and I've talked to just more than one person. Right, I've talked to people in the game, agents, etc.
Yeah.
It's not a case. No one's been lined up, right? Bielsa, no, he's not. They say don't speak images. He's as mad as frogs, right? They don't think Poch or Tuchel will come because they want Champions League. They have got no one lined up, right? There is no plan B, and I've got this from top journalists, agents, intermediaries, as well as other sources. So. What does that leave us with? Does that leave us with, I don't know, Mark?
It leaves us with relegation. Leaves us with relegation. That's what it leaves us with. Let's face it. 15.
I don't know if it means Mark Burton going in with maybe Noble was a figurehead. Burton, that's it. Yeah. Going in with maybe, Mark Noble taking over the dressing room. It is interesting that Moyes is using language to put Noble down. So he obviously sees him as a threat. He's a trainee. He's got a lot to learn. He doesn't know about recruitment. But look, Moyes has been in this game long enough. It's ridiculous to say they won't act ever. But they desperately, keep on going. We're desperately not to change the manager. I'm being told if we were looking for another manager, it will be someone like Moyes.
Yeah, we're saying
that.
But
they want him to turn it around.
So they're looking for someone. So they're looking for someone shit. That's what they're looking for. Let's face it.
Well, I think you've got to give him a little bit of benefit for the last 2 games, last 2 years, and say,
"Oh, mate,
well,
come on."
When we got in the semi-final, I know you've never liked Moyes.
Yeah, but listen. He got into the semi-final, Sean, and he bottled it in the semi-final. He did definitively. Nigel said the same thing.
I would say Cresswell lost it for us. I don't think he bottled it.
He had so many. Did you watch the game? Did you see the kitchen sink that he threw at the game? Because he didn't once go for it. In the Frankfurt game, he didn't. That's a.
I was in Frankfurt.
That's what I mean. He didn't go for it. You think this is a fucking cup game? You're going to get knocked out. But it's like he's trying to keep the score down. But the fact is, I don't buy that. It ain't about what he's done. It's about what he's doing, and what he's doing is taking us down.
Look, I'm not going to say I'm not frustrated. I like Nigel. He's not very happy that you invited me on and he didn't come on. By the way,
I'm getting Nigel
to pass you on a message.
I'm getting Nigel in a minute.
All right.
Yeah.
He asked me to pass you on a message.
Yeah.
Which is fuck off, Nick. That's his actual message. No, look, the one thing we agree with, we don't agree with much, is, the king is dead, long live the king. We support the manager until he's not the manager and the new manager comes in.
Yeah.
Now, if that means we're going to get relegated, right, I won't say. I've quite enjoyed a few. I was saying this to Kieran Maguire earlier this week. I've quite enjoyed a few seasons in the Championship. Go to different grounds. It's a bit cheaper. As long as you come straight back up, you wouldn't want to stay there for any length of time. But seriously, I'm a born optimist. I don't think we're going down. I think they're going to try and limp through to the summer and probably maybe then.
But what have you seen to think that we will survive? Because I've seen nothing for months, like literally not a glimmer of hope.
Well, I'm hoping that there are 3 teams shitter than us, which is not the
but there really isn't, mate. There really isn't.
That's the challenge, isn't it? That's the challenge, that actually everyone else picks up the game. We've seen obviously Everton. Yeah. Did they win today in the end? I didn't quite see.
Everton were winning, and then Southampton, who are currently bottom on goal difference, and now they turned it around to 2-1. And Southampton are off the back of a 3-game winning streak. They won in the EFL Cup, they won in the FA Cup, and now they've won in the fucking league as well. So they're probably not going to stay down there for long.
So where are we now? We're 19th.
We're level
in the relegation zone.
We're level bottom.
All three have got 15 points.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, it's not good. I'm not going to make it pretty, but it don't matter how much we rant and rave.
Would you? Can I ask you something? I know what you've been told, right? Now, Sean, I'm going to say this, and I know you talk to. I'm going to say this because this is what I believe, right? And I do think that you're an ITK, and I do think you get very good information. But my belief is at times like this, I don't think you're always going to get given the absolute 100% truth. Sometimes, because of your media platforms and everything else, they will tell you something that they want peddled because they want to back Moyes and they want it to be seen that they're backing Moyes. So do you believe that there is any chance, would you be surprised, for instance, if all of a sudden tomorrow they turn around and they sacked Moyes? Because it could happen. Would you be surprised?
I would, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he's sacked after next Saturday. I would be surprised if it happened today. Why wait? Why give him this game, Wolves away? Yeah. Right? You might as well sacked him after Leeds. I just don't think the time is right. I didn't think a lot would happen with Wolves away. Look, I know you think I only speak to one source. I speak to some journalists who are in the know with a lot of agents. Agents know what's going on. Intermediaries know what's going on. They're the ones that are asked to look for particular, the next manager, because every manager has an agent as well. And the media people, look, the official line from the senior sources, we desperately want to keep him. We don't want to sack him. We think he's earned trust for the last 2 years of what he's done. He's got credit in the bank, right?
It's absolute bullshit, mate. It really is. It's winding me up.
Outside of that, I am told he's on but I will tell you, I've spoken to other people to get different views. But you know something. He's on extremely thin ice. And he's a walking dead man.
Yeah, but he wouldn't. But that's literally common sense.
Yeah, exactly.
It's common sense. 1 point in the last 21, Sean. 1 point in the last 21.
I know, but I just don't think. Right, the excuse I'm going to give you is I don't think he's going to be sacked tonight or tomorrow or the next day.
Okay. Well, can you do me a favour? If the narrative does change, give us while we're online. Send me a little text. Let me know. Cheer me up a little bit. Cheer us all up. Because everyone's slitting their wrists in the fucking chat at the minute.
I've got aperitif waiting and a little cleanser to have dinner. So I have to go because I've got to get my tux on.
You don't get aperitifs in KFC.
No tux big enough for you.
But anyway, Sean. But Sean, I'll let you get moving, mate. You've upset everyone enough, so thanks for that.
All right, that's all right.
All right, but no, honestly, thanks for calling in. I was hoping that you might give us some good news, but obviously,
okay. What show am I on, by the way?
Sorry, you're on.
Who's in the background?
You're on Claret and Booze. That's Claret and Booze, and it's me and John on the show.
Oh, it's you, John. All right, John.
Yeah.
All right, John. I didn't know it was in the background.
What I might do next, I might give X a call to see if he can give us any good information. Because
why not?
Yeah,
why
I
not?
might do that next. But
all right, Nick.
I might find a proper IT case, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
I'm only messing. Cheers for the call, mate. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Fucking hell, really?
Oh, I was hoping it was going to be different to that. Sorry,
really?
everyone.
Why do you think that? You could be an ITK. I could say everything he just said. Moyes is on thin ice. Blah blah.
No, yeah, yeah. You don't need to be an ITK to fucking say that, do you? But yeah, my God. But that is literally, if that is the case, what does that say about our owners, John?
It shows that they haven't got the. When you were saying a couple of months ago we could get Pochettino, we could get Tuchel, and I was saying we can't. Not because we're not big enough or anything like that, or we're not a big club, whatever you want to call us, because the owners will not employ people like that. They're too big for them. They want to be in complete control. They want a puppet. They want someone who's looking to rebuild their career or will be a yes man. And that's it, in my opinion. They don't want big characters. They will never have big characters in charge of the team whilst they're there. So if they do get rid of Moyes between now and Everton, or after the Everton game, if we lose, God forbid, they will only employ from within. That will be Nolan.
I got the piss taken out of me for my pronunciation of Lopetegui. Apparently, it's Lopetegui. You call him Pochettino.
Yeah, I'm from East London, mate. That's how we talk. Yeah, don't pronounce anything right. Anything.
Here we go. Here's Nigel. He has come on, everyone. Here he is. We are now as shit as Everton. As shit as Everton. Well done, Nigel. Well done for coming on. I'm going to change my name to I Told You So.
You told us so what?
Come on, Nigel. Just give us your thoughts on the situation at the moment. I
was a busy man this weekend, but I got to see the whole of the second half.
Yeah.
I must admit, I was avoiding the sort of results, and my phone was humming like a good one, which I didn't know what was going on. So I was relieved to see it at 0-0 when the second half kicked off. After 46 and a half minutes, not so relieved.
No. It was bad, Nigel, that first half, mate. We literally set up. We just set up to just roadblock them, you know, just to, and as John said, his analysis was we played a team that can't score, and the game plan was to set up to stop a team that can't score from scoring.
Well, then obviously perhaps the goal changed it, because I can only speak on what I saw. What I saw was a team that was going forward with purpose, but lacked the players in the final third.
Yeah,
with a brain. But Antonio, as someone needs to sit Antonio down and saying, mate, you know, you can't run through the people like you used to. You either change your game or you sit on the bench. Because that every time he got the ball and he tried to run with it, defenders were snuffing him out. It ain't even like he got through and fluffed a shot. He didn't even get into a position to get a shot away. You know, it was we're putting balls in the box and we're overhitting crosses, or there's only one player in the box. You know, when Benny come on, I like Benny because he's more direct. He looks forward, but then I think he gets panicked. And the desperation, there was no calm head there for me, apart from Declan.
But the thing is, Nigel, just to sort of interject. I mean, you're saying it's there's no goals. It's a striker situation. Yeah. There were instances in that first half, mate, where Paqueta picks it. It happened twice where we're under the cosh because the game was played in our half, most of it. Yeah. And then the ball breaks to Paqueta. He's in the middle. He turns. He runs, and he's looking around. He's scanning. There is fucking no one in front of him. No one. And he wants to make a forward pass, and that happened twice. And then you look out on the left-hand side, Paqueta's played a beautiful ball out to Fornals. Fornals has made a break down the left. He's got forward, And there is no one, there was no one there. And the fact is, when you set up, and that is a mentality thing, Nigel, we're set up to play deep. Now, when Brentford play a counter-attacking game, yeah, they play deep and they play counter-attack. But the only reason that works for them is because they leave their strikers up front. So you've got an outlet. We don't have a fucking outlet. It's either Antonio or Scamacca on their own. They're both going to look shit in that situation up against 2 or 3 centre-backs. They are. When they've got no one around them, no one anywhere near them. I think you're right. Antonio's days have passed him by. They have. He'd probably do an awful lot better in a team that fucking supported him a little bit more. Same as Scamacca probably would as well.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't like to get hung up on formations or whatever. But if you've got, people call it, 4-2-1-3 if there's a 3 at the front, but it ain't 3 at the front, is it? Because our wide players are so wide, they're so detached from the striker. I'm a 4-4-2 man. I'm old school 4-4-2, and the way I see that is that 4-4-2 gives you you could lose the middle, but you got 2 banks coming down your width.
It's a stable formation, I think.
Yeah, you play. You got your Declan Rice as the holder. You got your, you got your magician. You think back in the days when I started watching. Bonzo was your Declan Rice, and then you had Trevor Brooking weaving the magic. That was our middle 2. Yeah, and then you had the wide players like Graham Padden, and then Devonshire came in, and even Jeff Pike then came in. And Pike weren't specifically a winger. He but he got up and down the line. He could put the ball in the box, and then you had your 2 strikers, either your Pop Robson and your John Radford. John Radford was dog shit, I must admit. My first striker I remember watching, never scored a goal for us. But David Cross come in, and Cross became a legend of the club. So tactics is, it will come again. 4-4-2 will come back. 3-5-2 turned up in the late 90s. And then disappeared again.
I know. But I think what John said earlier on was nailed on, because I think when you look at when you analyse the last year, which has been shit and it's been getting progressively worse, right, in the league, it has been the style of football. It's been getting progressively worse, and we've arrived at this point. But what my take is, Nigel, I said in my opening fucking tirade, I said I think that that David Moyes, it looks as though, based on the fact that he's got no awareness of the weaknesses in his team now. He doesn't seem to be able to get the best out of anyone in that squad. Anyone. It's starting to feel like the last 2 years that we had, it's starting to feel like he stumbled on something and he just ran it into the ground, and now he's run out of ideas. That is what it's starting to feel like.
I mean, there is a funny thing, we will go on as well. He spent £180 million, but the young lad that was on, whose name escaped me, highlighted it was only 2 of them starting the game.
Yeah.
So actually, that 180 million is.
But who's that down? Who's that down to, though, Nigel?
Well,
who's that down to? The fact that, why is it? This nonsense bedding players in.
Well, no, look, the thing, and this is the thing, Nick, and there have been some fantastic foreign buys that have come into the Premier League, world-class players, and struggled.
Yes, they have.
Now, generally, you should allow a player. Paqueta is getting better, but he ain't great. I'm sorry, what I'm seeing, he's misplacing passes. And they try this sometimes. They try this tippy tappy,
Nigel, the players that are the main problems in that team are Souček, a Soufal, a Cresswell.
I think our agent actually.
They're the main ones.
I'll tell you why. I think the problems.
Our fullbacks are shit. Yeah, and Antonio, but he keeps playing him.
Owen. Right, I think actually they're the main 2. The problem is, Nick, and this is the thing. We got caught on a sucker punch today, because we were up for a corner and they broke away. There was some bad defending. Creswell's half-hearted, but anyway, did something. But
Nigel, I've got a good call. Do you remember Scott?
I'll probably recognise the voice.
Yeah, let's give Scott a call back. Right, 1 minute. Sorry, Scott.
Got the Moyes yet, have I?
Sorry, Scott. If you are listening, mate, I've had a fucking nightmare. I started up the show earlier on. All the kit failed.
I watched the first show and I turned, man, it's gone.
I know.
I was watching a black screen. That's how much I was paying attention. I'm thinking, where the fuck?
Some would say that's more entertaining.
Well, it's John ballsed it all up
Sadly
because
better.
if I ask him to come on, he don't come on, and all of a sudden he appeared up there.
Well,
I was like,
we
shit.
should-
So I've got to try.
Because of your inept account. Be accountable for your own actions, yeah? Like Moyes, you would tell Moyes to be accountable, yeah? So you be accountable.
Yeah. Whatever.
Don't blame everyone else.
Scott.
How you going, lad? You all right?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm not bad. Was you down there today?
No, luckily I'll give my ticket away. So I've got a proper bout of man flu at the moment. So I'm on the sofa, dropping away, sitting on a blanket. But
I bet that game made you feel better,
Mr.
didn't it?
Football
Watching
cheered you up.
I as I texted you earlier, Nick, I had the unfortunate pleasure of just sitting there watching the scores coming on BT Sport with Chris Sutton delivering it. I need to get one of them IPTV things so I can watch all the Saturday 3 o'clocks when I can't get the games. But I mean,
let me know. I'll pass you my man's on Nick and pass it on to Scott.
Yeah, I'll do that.
He's a West Ham fan as well. So.
Disclaimer: Claret and Booze do not promote any.
We don't support copyright. We don't.
No, I won't name him. I won't give his name out or whatever. So it is, but yeah.
Yeah. But anyway,
to be fair,
Claret and Booze is above board illegal.
Yeah, everything's above board illegal. On camera.
Even Nick's haircut is not illegal.
Yeah. I think if the old bill had turned up today and knocked on my door to give me a fine, I think I'd glad said, mate, I tell you what, I'll switch it off.
Yeah. Nigel's gone dark again.
Giving up. Yeah, my light bulbs are giving up.
Right, but anyway, Scott, give us your take on things, mate.
Just before I get started, I've been listening from the start, Nick, since you at the restart. When you started, you were bright red in the face. And John, if you could do me a favour and get a new back for your remote control, because every time I see it on the screen, it's driving me mad.
What?
Anyway.
You
batteries earlier.
Where do you live, in Mayfair or something? That's it, mate.
He lives in Liverpool. He lives in Liverpool.
Market.
If he was proper working class, he'd have sellotape on the back.
Where Scott lives, you can't risk not having the battery cover on your thing because they get nicked.
That's true. I won't even tell you where I got my telly from. But anyway, no, I'm not going to comment on the game because I didn't see it, and enough's been said about Moyes tonight. But the bigger question for me is, the bigger worry is, and something that Sean said, is like they've got no plans, they've got no one in place to replace Moyes, which when I first appeared on the show, I said my big problem with the board and everything to do with West Ham is there never seems to be a structure or an approach that anyone needs to, an overarching way forward that we follow. Everything seems to be haphazard or scattergun approach that we get these players in because they look good on paper, they sound good. We don't know if they'll fit the manager's system. There isn't a steady approach to how we do things. So we find ourselves in a situation where Moyes has got a lot of square pegs with out the round holes to fit him in, and we are now in a situation where relegation is a distinct possibility.
Yeah.
And what follows
Scott, can I interrupt you 1 second, mate? I just flicked up a comment by accident. I know emotions are running high at the moment. I put up a comment. Please don't, in the chat, don't abuse a guest on guests that come on screen in the chat or the callers or anything like that, please. Yeah, just don't do it. Abuse me, but don't do that. All right, sorry, mate. Go on, Scott.
Right, so it's a distinct possibility we could get relegated. So what's the worst case scenario that happens when we go down? From a supporter perspective, someone who goes regular games, I'll get a reduced season ticket in the London Stadium, be sit where you want at that point with 30,000 will probably turn up rather than the 62. More away games. There's the positive. Millwall away. Outside that, the real realities are going down is we could end up to the next Leeds or Sunderland or up with Sheffield Wednesday. Some of those big clubs that have gone down over the years that have struggled to recover because we've got charlatans at the top that run the club. We've got people that run the club that don't have a clear vision of how to take the club forward. So what happens is it could be a supremely dark day for West Ham United moving forward. We end up with this stadium that will be far too big for us, that it's going to become a couple of things from that, actually. The first thing, it'll look horrible when you go in that ground. We get a League Cup game against the lower division side in the third round of the League Cup. You go, one man and his dog has shown up. Then you've got league games. Let's imagine Millwall at home. That's going to be absolute carnage over there with a handful of people there to watch it, and police all over the place. And then there is, if we can't build up momentum and get signings in at that point, they like prop us up the league. But we can end up going down again, like Sunderland did. And where do you go from there? How do you build the club and make sure that we're putting ourselves in pole position to get promotion? Because it comes down to investment again. But there won't be much money to spend. Excuse me. Man flu.
No worries.
There won't be much money to spend.
As Claire said earlier in the chat, you've got a cold. You've got a cold, Scott. It's very, very.
Got a cold. Sorry.
Yes. Sorry.
I got a cold. There you go. But there won't be much money in the kitty to spend, because I reckon, and I said this last time, there won't be too many managed players with relegation release clauses. So that means that there's got to be players that get relegated on higher wages. I won't talk for too long because I'm going to end up coughing like one of those Fast Show characters. There won't be too many clubs willing to pay over the odds for these players to bring them into their clubs, because their wages will be high. Yeah, so we're instantly on the back foot. Oh, Jesus, I'm going to go through it in a minute. But it won't. So we could end up in a real dark place, and a dark hole it'll be difficult to climb out of, with owners with no track record of success in their entire tenure at Birmingham City and at West Ham United. So we have gone effectively from being regular challengers for European places to someone who could just fall into the doldrums of football. So if you were depressed before, you're going to be depressed now, because apart from me coughing down your ear every second and the audience at the same time, we're in dire straits. We're in severe stuck at this point. And the worst part of all this, if they want to get out of this situation, if they want us to climb forward and escape relegation, they should have done it a long time ago, as you've said, as others have said at the same time. Because even if we get a result against Everton, the next 3 games are probably not winnable, or we're not going to pick up many points. Newcastle, Chelsea and Tottenham. And looking at the rest of the fixtures, including another game against Newcastle, not many of them are looking too likely to be wins.
They all look horrific on paper now. Whenever you look at the fixture list now, because of how bad we are, you look at them thinking, fuck. Even Nottingham Forest, after this run of 4 games where you've got Everton that you've got to win, and then you've got Chelsea, Newcastle, Spurs, you've then got Forest, which should be a must-win game. They just beat Leicester.
Absolutely.
So absolutely. You're literally not, fuck me, where are these points coming from?
Well, what Sean said a minute ago is the last call. As Sean said, that there's got to be 3 worse teams than us. Well, the only 3 worse teams than us, but there isn't 3 worse teams. There's currently 3 teams in that relegation zone, and we happen to be one of them. And there's Bournemouth sitting above them. So basically, we're all looking at Bournemouth to be the ones to slip in and for us to survive, because that will be the team that will be chasing and battling for that last place. So what I don't understand is the ball dilly-dallying around. It feels like Avram Grant Mark II, where they're just going to stick it out to the season and hope for the best. But what happened that particular time is history will repeat itself, we'll go down again. And it doesn't make any sense. What is going through their head as businessmen? What is Krasinski saying, or the people that he's put on the board, what are they saying? What's their input to go, our investment's going to be lost on the basis this club gets relegated. What is the plan to get West Ham United back on the front foot and out of the relegation zone? Because at the moment,
it doesn't appear there is a fucking plan. It appears they're making it up as they go along. They're short-sighted. Yeah. They stumbled on someone that they thought could polish a turd with minimal outlay, which sounds ridiculous because we've just spent 180 million. But let's face it, we've spent a lot of money. They had to. We was down to the bare bones. We've had loads of underinvestment over the years. They've had to go out and they've had to go and spend some fucking money. But we are short-sighted as a club. David Moyes is short-sighted as a coach. It's all about, he should have been from day one. If he'd have basically, we wouldn't have been no worse off, would we? If from game 1 of this season, David Moyes had have said, right, this is how we're going to play from now on. This is our new style. And just carried on playing that way, drilling it into the team, getting the players into the team, rather than this fucking slowly bedding them in. We'd be full steam by now. We'd be full steam ahead. But the issue is, there never was a plan. There never was anything. It was all about trying to basically, when he talks about bedding players in, it's about these new players bedding them in to make them fit his setup. That's what it is. Yeah, that's the bedding in.
That's what I'm talking about when the square peg and round holes.
Yeah.
Go on, John.
But also, to me, it seems like now more than ever, there seems to be a tug of war between the owners and Moyes. And what I mean by that is all the players that don't suit Moyes' style are suggested, the rumours to be true, that they're Sullivan buyers, like Ben Rama, right? Like Cornet, like Paqueta.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to picking them, Moyes is like, well, I didn't want them, so I'm not going to pick them. And it's like a pair of...
Yeah, but no, John, right? And this is the thing. This is where I go. Sullivan has been off with his new fucking floozy, yeah, whatever her name is, yeah. He is running the club, but what he's done is, yeah, he has put in a process. The fans wanted it, yeah. The fans wanted it. They brought in Rob Newman.
The fans wanted what?
Hold up. The fans wanted Sullivan not involved in transfers, yeah. The Rob Newman appointment is a bit, I don't know, left of centre, because what people, it's not something where...
That annoys me when people say the fans wanted this. It's like...
No. The fans wanted Sullivan not involved in transfers. Are you telling me they didn't, Nick?
No, we didn't want him involved in transfers. But then what you don't do, you don't go and employ David Moyes' mate as a director of football.
No, and this is the thing. Well, this is the thing. Is it a team with Moyes and Newman and Warburton? It was Pearce. Do you give the manager the team to be able to run all first team matters by the players he wants? Because at the end of the day, it is the manager that gets sacked. The owners never sack themselves.
No.
Yeah. So, or do you bring in your own? What should have happened? Yeah, because people may not know this or whatever. Rob Newman come from Man City.
Yeah.
I'm not sure he claims to have been the man that found David Villa, but in the interview I heard from him, that was his only claim, and Villa spent 19 years at Man City. There must have been more, but hold up. Moyes was at Bristol City, and who was playing alongside of him? Rob Newman. It's another job for the boys.
That's what I mean.
This is what it smacks of to me.
That's what I mean.
There is a thing. Where I stand with Moyes is, at the end of the day, he's the manager.
I'm going to leave you to it for a minute. I'm just going to go and get another drink.
I actually think that he's a dead man walking, and that even if he keeps us up, unless he delivers a trophy, he'll be gone at the end of the season. So even by hook or by crook, because at the moment, as we say, what if you can get something from this? Was a not lose game, Wolves. He had to really get a point, and then he can go into the Everton game, get 3 points there, because I think funny enough, Southampton won today. And this is the mad thing about it. Yeah, there's 6 or 7 teams, and 3 of them are going to go down. No. Facing facts, we are one of those 6 teams.
Mate, we're terrible.
Well, and we ain't got a striker that can put a clinical striker that can put the ball in the back. The difference between us and Wolves...
I don't know about that. I don't know about that, Nigel. I think we have got a clinical striker, but you've got to use him playing to his strengths. I'll tell you why. Hold on. The reason I think he could be a clinical striker is you can play to his strengths like Sassuolo did. And here's a problem. I'm not claiming to have a great breadth of knowledge of world football. I only know what I know. But this goes back to my point about David Moyes, and whether there is players or not, he's not getting the best out of them because he's not playing to their strengths. So what we end up with is a very rigid approach to football because Moyes can't utilise what he's got in his squad. I mean, let's take the example of Emerson. He cannot be a Moyes signing because we had Emerson available against Leeds and he played Kerr at left wing back. And he was utterly shocking. This leads me, that's a case in point that leads me to believe that a lot of the players that he's got at his disposal are not his signings and are vanity signings from David Moyes or some sort of recommendation from a favoured agent. And we know from previous signings that Sullivan will listen to particular agents. But if you are going to bring players in to play for a manager who is has a very cautious approach to the game, then you have to have one or the other. You can't have both. So with a player like Scamacca or Paqueta that are modern players in a progressive game, you have to build a team around their abilities. And that's not what David Moyes is able to do. And I think some of the problems And I'm definitely Moyes out, but some of the problems are based around the signings were brought in because they're not the players that he wanted. He would like industrious, hard-working players, big lumps that play a particular brand of football. Think of players like Fellaini, for example, that are industrious. They're constantly working back and forward, and that's one of the reasons he picks someone like Souček, who to me he's a mobile lamppost.
He's mate. Honestly, I don't know what Souček. I don't know what I've never actually rated Souček. I think he's good when used to for a particular capacity. If you set up well, if you got good deliveries coming into the box and you're using him in the right way, I think he'll be effective. But as a footballer, he's incredibly basic. He's a basic footballer.
I've got to admit, one of my mates in the first season nicknamed him Czech Lampard because of his late runs and scoring. Yeah. But beyond that, after that, he disappeared. Everything's dried up. The other one I call Shovel Feet, which is Soufal.
Oh, no.
He's another one who's just gone off the boil. What we've got a lot of unhappy players. We've got a disjointed squad. We've got players who can't mould to a system because a manager has an old school approach. I think it was you, John, who said earlier that he plays a system that he was using at Everton 15 years ago. So how are the club meant to be moving forward when you've got all these parts that don't connect? It just doesn't make any sense. And as a result, for me, we're on our way down. I can't see us getting out of this.
Can you, club's in a bit of turmoil. Scott, can you see, right, Norman David Tiddyman, that's a good name. He put a comment in a while back, and he said fans have to do a Burnley against Everton. Are we a long way away from that? Do you think if they keep him in charge?
Oh, please!
I would say that before we do a Burnley again. And I would advise against that. I don't mind the atmosphere turning against the board, but what I would suggest to do, and this is me, is get behind Hammers United because they're the ones that have made the most progress in the last couple of years in trying to change the direction of the football club. They did have success, and then due to Moyes' recent success, their impact started to peter off because, to be quite honest, and this is just my opinion, people can be quite fickle. As soon as results start to pick up, the anger dissipates.
I totally agree with Scott. I totally agree with Scott. Well, he's right, 100%. The supposed success or the relative success that we've had over the last couple of years has papered over the cracks of the owners and the board, and he's totally right because football fans are fickle. We're all a fickle bunch. Let's be honest about it, right? Generally, we are a fickle bunch. And what it's allowed them to do is the heat has been off them for some time under Moyes, and that's why they're stuck with him, I think, in the hope that he'll continue to take the heat off of them.
So, I mean, it goes back to Hammers United. Their main aim was to get the ball to sell up and move on and to come in with someone competent. I mean, that's a bit idealistic.
I think if you ask them that, they'll say no. I talk now and again to Hammers United. So I'm not sure that was actually one of the aims for them to get the ball to sell up and move on.
That was the initial game. I mean, that's where the T-shirts and stuff come from, the GSB out. That's their branding. That's what they come up with. I was a board member for a very brief period, but I was one of the founders, if you like, and anyone involved with that can get that checked out. But I remember the first meeting in Plaistow Community Centre and taking it from there, but I just wasn't in a position to carry it on forward. But the original aim was, because the club was running such a poor way, that it was to get Gold, Sullivan and Brady out. What happened, where we find ourselves today is because, and this again, my opinion, because of the fickle nature of supporter reactor based on relative success, to use John's term, is that it petered out. But there needs to be a constant pressure if you want a regime change. But again, what I was getting at is the idealistic approach to football is we want competent owners to come in. We'll just end up with, if we're lucky, if you like, and this is not my viewpoint, sort of Qatari, Saudi owners or something like that, all plough money into the club. And I've got my own conflicting things, not because of the human rights stuff, but because of the nature of the game change at that point. It's a different subject, but I mean, there are some pure things left about West Ham United that I think if we become one of these Man Cities or Newcastles, we start becoming a plastic club at the same time. But I'm not going to get into that. But I mean, ultimately, all of our problems historically seem to start on the top of the broad. Cerns, the Browns, the Icelandics, the Gold, Sullivan, and Brady. They all stem from the same place, and throughout history, we've been poorly run. And until that changes, we're going to have the same problems. Every so often, there's going to be an eruption of anger from the supporters because the direction of the club is going in a downward spiral.
I don't know. I'm consistently angry, to be honest. So I'm a.
You're angry. You're angry when you wake up in the morning.
No, but anyway, Scott, what we're going to do? We're going to close this call now because we're trying to set a new rule, like 10 to 15 minutes now.
Can I just say, hold up, right? And the thing is, there's Everton fans are protested,
They sat in the ground, didn't they?
After the game,
protest
directed at the board, not at the manager, not at the players.
Agreed.
Burnley, Burnley was nothing to do, realistically, with the results on the pitch.
No, it was about more than that. It was about more than that. Yeah,
it was to do with people waking up and seeing the lies that had been told to get their back into the fans, because the fans backed the move to the stadium, a majority backed the move to the stadium. And they was they did. Yes, they did. Because I sat on the original SAB.
Go on. Tasty debate.
I sat on the original SAB from
Nigel's
the start
always causing trouble.
until 2017. I was on SAB Mark 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, there was about 5 or 6 of us that spoke out about the move every time. The first meeting there was about 70, 80 people. It scaled down. Karen Brady once held a vote at the SAB. Only 2 people voted against the move, and this was in 2013. And Karen Brady documented it in her Sun column. 2 people voted no. No, that was me and 1 other person.
Hold up, Nigel. What about the general supporters? I don't remember getting a say.
The general supporters, were coming out. You go across KUMB. Soon as Spurs threw their hat in the ring, bang, 70%. We've got to go there. We've got to go there. We can't have Spurs in Stratford. That is what happened. Believe me, I lived it and I died it. Yeah, I put my head up on the wall. I paid hundreds of pounds for websites and flags. I stood outside the ground. I got a petition. Yeah, I can show you one petition we done where majority of people at the ground wanted to stay at Upton Park. That was done in 2012. I was part of a group called Whose View. We polled about 3,000 people at the ground. Yeah, but the club are going 3,000 people. You know, we've got 20-odd thousand season ticket holders here. The fact is, and it is a fact, the majority of the fans backed the move. I got called every name under the sun.
Nick, honestly, last thing I'll say, Nigel.
Go on.
Nigel, I 100% agree and think you're genuine about this, so I'm not questioning you. But what a little conspiracy theorist in me is going mental in my mind at the moment, is saying that the club, our club, somehow got Spurs involved in that to get that whole piece to happen, to get West Ham fans in favour of that stadium. I could have been the toss if Spurs had took the Olympic Stadium. I mean, an North London club playing in East London, it wouldn't have been a good look for them. Their supporters would have gone mental.
Exactly.
And my point of view to that was, I remember someone saying to me, "Would you want Spurs in Stratford?" And I said, well, frankly, when Spurs are playing now, I wouldn't be fucking in Stratford anyway. And nor will all the West Ham fans, because the majority of Stratford support fucking Arsenal now. So how would you know who was fucking playing in Stratford on what day?
Yeah.
But people did care.
Have you seen this? Have you seen this, Nigel? Dean's Life. He said, and an article in the Independent. Moyes says that fans need to give back to the club.
I put it up. Someone else put it up. He turned round and said something. And then this is where I think Moyes does tread a fine line, bordering on. Because the one thing I did notice at the end of the game is that he went to clap the fans and the away fans, and I saw more away fans telling him to fuck off than clapped him back. Yeah, and I think that's telling. Yeah, today. And
Gary said that. Gary was there, and he said after the game, he said all the obviously the players went over to the away support and they was getting a round of applause and everything else, and apparently Moyes went over there to try and milk it, and they all stopped and started giving him abuse.
Yeah. So but then that's quite telling, because as you know, the away fans generally are the most. They sort of stick with him longer, don't they? Do you know what I mean? They stick with him longer. So if that's happened, I didn't know that had happened.
So
I'm gutted. I'm not going to be at the Everton game.
I'm dreading it. I'm dreading that Everton game.
Getting back and forward between here, because I'm still a season ticket holder as well. Getting back and forward's a pain in the neck, and I'm only allowed to go to 2 more games before I've got a big holiday in April. But John, I don't know if you remember him, because apparently you went to the games with him in the relegation season 2003, Richard Harris. But he's the one who got me to the show. Yeah, I think he's one of my best mates. He's who I go football with a lot. So. He's one who pointed out.
He's Dad Roy. Yeah.
Big Roy. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh, you're one of these mates. Oh, you're from East. Oh, so you're from Mile End.
Oh. Yeah, Mile End boy. Mile End boy, ex-Aldi Liverpool. And you, but boys, I'm going to shut up now, because as you found out the first times I'll go on and on and on and on. I'm going to go and listen to the show now rather than contribute. But Nick, thanks for having me on again,
right.
gentlemen. Have a fantastic evening.
Yeah, good stuff. Cheers for the call, mate. Hope you feel better.
Take care, Roll. Cheers, bye.
Cheers, mate. Good call. That was good.
Fucking, they'll get the Marlin boys to gang up on me. Fucking, where's the Tanners? Fucking got me back.
I know, yeah.
Get any closer.
What you need to do, Nigel, you need all that passion that you had about the move. You need to use that passion for Moyes out. Get some banners. Do some fucking websites. Print some flyers. Moyes out.
You got you to do it. Fucking hell. Do you know what come up when I clicked on Claret and Booze? It come up end of an era. Yeah, David Moyes, end of an era. It was a video from 2 months ago.
Mate, I've been saying this for 2. I've been saying this for 2 months.
Well,
I called it a long time ago.
I've broken clocks right twice a day.
Actually, 3 months ago. 3 months ago. Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's a part of me who thinks.
But the issue, Nigel, the issue is that by the time it happens, we could be fucked.
Yeah, there is a point where I think if it's like, if Everton is shit or bust, then you're setting up whoever replaces him for a fall. Because at the end of the day, even if he gets a point against Everton,
it's not enough.
That's not enough.
It's not enough.
With Spursies and Newcastle's on the horizon, of course, Nick, I listened to you earlier when you was going, 4 games ago it was, we win 1 game, we're 8th, and then
that's you. I was referencing you.
Basically, you, Nigel.
I was laughing my head off. I know who he was referencing.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, yes, I've got to come on here. I've got to take it on the chin. Am I going to go, fucking sack the manager? Listen, I look to the ball to do that.
Nigel, can I say this? Can I say this now? Right, don't say sack the manager. Yeah. Right, you're the board. You own the club. What do you do at this point?
No, actually, I think I would pull the trigger.
There you go. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. But because you're loyal and you don't want to be seen to be jumping on a bandwagon.
No, I think. Nige. If I'm wrong,
how have you put up with him all these fucking years? I tell
just
you,
ignore him most of the time.
I ain't jumping on the bandwagon.
I just think this situation is sad.
It's untenable. Yeah, of course it's sad.
But the thing is it proves again. And Scott, the caller there, was right. The last 2 years of relative success is papered over the cracks and the joke that the board are, and they've got away with it. Our attention's been deflected away somewhat, right? And that's my opinion. And I think now the thing is, the fact that Moyes is still there and probably will still be there as of the Everton game makes them look even more.
Well, the worst thing for me is when I look at it is last year I think we had the oldest team in the league. Yeah,
we've still got the same team.
And that's the thing is we've 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 fell away, retirement and left, but the other 5 or 6 that were old are still there. They need to replace. Unfortunately, he done like 2 transfer windows, lot of money in one go, and I'm afraid 180 million on 8 players. 20 million a player don't get you a lot, but when you spend 30 odd on one and 40 odd on another, that means you're spending 5, on some, and 5, gets you gambles. And I'm afraid, even if we do survive this year, I think we're in for a whole heap of trouble for the next couple of years.
Yeah, I agree.
Big time, yeah. Because the thing is, I mean, it is bad. I mean, you know yourself. I know we get the parachute payments when we go down.
Yeah.
I know that we've got players that we can sell. You got Declan Rice. There's loads of other players. But so in the short term, we'll be fine. But because the thing is, what you can do, and this is what I was saying earlier on. I put that post on the forum a little while ago, on the community section of YouTube, and I said, we keep on bouncing from one crisis to another, and this is how we ended up with Moyes. This is how we're going to end up with the next manager. And then if it's a Sean Dyche, because they are sticky plaster managers, that we're going to end up back in the same situation. Now, at some point, we're going to have to take. I want, if you look at, I know Leeds are in trouble, but if you look at sort of Brentford, if you look at Brighton, if you look at the way that they run things, I think, I would rather just get a visionary. If we're going to go down, I'd rather go down with Potter, because someone like that could develop and bring us back up.
Hold up, but the thing about Potter's magic, Potter did okay at Swansea, brought in a Brighton.
Hang on. Hey, we've got Gary back on for 10 minutes. Gary, can you turn the sound down?
Hello. It's bad.
Hello, Gary.
My voice in my ear.
Hello, Nick. Sorry, mate. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. Right, Gary, I know we cut you off earlier because I was having a bit of a fucking nightmare with the technology on the earlier show. So we've got Nigel on with us now.
Yeah, he knows. He's watching it. He knows Nigel's on. He ain't blind.
Do you know what I love about you, John? Fuck all. That's what I love about you.
But walk out of another WhatsApp group, for Christ's sake. Fucking hell, I've just got you back together, will we? I'll have a day off.
But anyway, Gary, we're going to pick up. We'll start your call again. So come on. You've been listening to the calls that we've had in. You've had Scott. If you've been watching the show, you've heard Nigel's take. He still don't want to jump on the bandwagon. So what? So what would you like to say, mate?
Nigel's all right. I love Nigel. He's okay.
He's brilliant.
No, listen. The last call you had, actually, talking about the DNA of West Ham, which I find an interesting thing. I know Nigel will find this interesting, what I'm going to say. The last 2 years, when we were doing really well, we was in the top 6, challenging the top 4, it always seemed like it was like not taken seriously by some other fans. And I've always thought, you bigoted bastards, but now, you know what? I can see why in a way, because I said to you last week, you honestly think Arsenal and Tottenham would have gone this long without getting rid of the manager in this position, 1 point from 21, they would been. And I think the other caller was right. It is from the top. We've just never been run properly.
No.
We had these 2 years of doing really well, which is a shame now because you've got Liverpool, Chelsea, even City, they're in decline a little bit. Particularly City and Chelsea. Chelsea and Liverpool in decline. Tottenham are not really going anywhere. And it's a shame that now we're not in the same form as 2 years ago because we could have got top 4. But obviously Newcastle now and Arsenal in the equation. But the thing is, I said to you before, Nick, the biggest problem this season, and the one thing I will say for Moyes, and I definitely want him out, by the way, but the only thing about Moyes is we never ever conceded more than 3 goals in a game under him. We don't get thrashed. Even today, we've lost 1-0. So the problem all season is
because he plays 9 players behind the ball.
Yeah, well, maybe so. But the fact is, we know it wouldn't take much to come in for another manager to come in with a more attacking philosophy to start turning these 1-0 defeats into wins and draws.
I think you're right. Sorry to interject, because I think, Nigel, you said something similar before about, or it might be you, John, about Bilic's early success in 15-16 was because of Payet, but also he could build on Sam Allardyce's strong backbone that he'd put in place, which was a defensive mentality. He had a defensive unit there. So you could have something else if you was to go for an attacking manager now. Maybe you might find the best of both worlds, certainly for a year or two, anyway.
I do think, with the window open, we've got to get another striker in, just to give us some alternatives there. Because after all, you only got to get an injury to Antonio and Scamacca, and he's down to 1 striker again. I think you need something else there. Antonio's not scoring, which, I'm not being funny. The system we're playing, any striker would struggle to get goals. You said yourself, Nick. It's I just don't understand what Moyes is watching week in. It's almost like he wants to get sacked, almost. Because you keep playing. When I was Sutek and Creswell playing today, I just couldn't believe it. And basically, all these 8 players we brought in, like 2 of them are getting game time some of the time, and it's just a lack of goals. It's been like this all season. And what worries me now is when you had that Sean Whetstone on earlier.
Yeah.
If they honestly think there's 3 worst teams in this league, they're deluded, because Southampton are on a winning run, Forest have turned it around on a winning run, Villa have picked up and pulled away, Wolves are picking up. So it's only us and Everton really that are, could both go down. I mean, you know, and even Everton now might react quicker than we do and get Dyche, and then who are we going to get in? You know, we should have done this before the World Cup. We had a year's bad form in the Premier League, and the European thing has papered over the cracks.
Yeah.
But like I say, it's who do we get in now? You know, and what worries me is the Everton game is winnable. Yes, it is. But the 3 games after that are not. And this is the trouble. If we lose next week to Everton, we are going to be like trimmed a little bit.
Personally, I'm going to say it now. I feel like it's going to take quite some effort for whoever comes in to save us now. I think if we lose against Everton, I think we're fucked.
Especially this season.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of games left, and especially the Constantine way the league is this season, and the fact that how close it is. You know, and normally one team is cut adrift after 19 games.
Yeah.
So normally it's 2 for the drop because we know who the bottom team is. Yeah. Whoa. Yeah. It ain't like that, is it? Because I think 14th are on 17 points and bottom's on 15. So it will swing wildly. So even if a new manager comes in, even if we lose against Everton, new manager comes in. There is still that chance.
Yeah, still
there's a chance.
And we can all sit here and be doom and gloom. Yeah, I've seen us.
No, it is. Yeah, but the current situation is.
Pickles.
But we ain't going to get out of this situation with Moyes, Nigel. It ain't going to happen.
I'm not saying that. Hold up. I just turned around and said he loses against Everton and you bring a new manager in. Yeah. It ain't all doom and gloom. It ain't.
Brentford are beating Bournemouth 2-0, by the way.
Yeah, and
the bit I don't get is if we draw or lose to Everton next week, well, the draw's no good. I mean, not being funny now, the way Moyes sets out the draw games. Well, in our present position, draws a point a game is not going to get you out of relegation, and you need to score goals to win games to get the points. So it's a very simple concept, really, and we're not doing that.
Well,
but I just feel now.
Sorry, one thing what you say about the defence, though, and what I would say is. The reason why we're possibly only losing by 1 game to 0 is because of the ultra defensive setup. And if someone came in and played more attacking, it's quite possible. It might be more fun to watch, though, to be honest. Because it can't
get any worse, Nigel. It can't get any worse.
No, Nigel, what do you think? What do you think he's got to do then? If a new manager come in tomorrow, and I'll take on board what you're saying. Maybe that is. But we have got a Gerd in the side now that offers us pace. Yeah. Johnson, I've been saying for weeks, Johnson should be playing left back, not Creswell. You've got Zuma fit now. So I take on board what you're saying. It's a very valid point. Maybe he doesn't trust the defence.
I'd be buying
if we did open up.
I'd be not buying. No, the problem is goal scoring. Because at the end of the day, if we concede 1 against Wolves, well, we've done that before, But guess what? We scored 2 or 3, Well, that's what's dried up. I don't know if it might have been you, Gal, that said it or the other bloke. The goals are dried up. That is the problem. We're still. If you look at how many goals we've conceded this season, we're not by far and away the worst defensive team down there. There's far more worse teams that have conceded goals. Our problem is we ain't bloody scoring, and I'm sorry, I don't think we will with Antonio and Scamacca.
But I'm going to go back to what I was saying before, and when you compare us with a lot of the teams that are down there, Nigel, the reason we are so much defensively better than a lot of those teams, yet we're not scoring goals, is because of our style of play. When you play defensively and you set roadblocks, you concede less than you score. You concede less and you score less.
Yeah, but then it's cutting that balance. But what we're talking about now is the situation we're in now. How does it change? New manager comes in. He's got to. The funny thing about it is we get a new manager in. What are you doing with Rob Newman? What are you doing with? You can keep Nolan.
I'd be happy to fuck them all off. I've got to be honest. I'd like them all gone. I'd like them all gone.
There's like a big coaching team now. Kevin Nolan, the other bloke whose name I always forget. Nevin, Pat Nevin. I know his name ain't Pat People, by the way. Before you all jump down my throat. Yeah.
Winger,
yeah. The way Joe
the thing is, though, the thing is, Nigel, the club is incredibly stale now. It's incredibly stale. I said in the call earlier, any football team, don't matter who you are, and Liverpool now is a prime example, you can't stand still. If you stand still, you go. Liverpool done the same thing. They didn't invest in the midfield. They haven't got the legs anymore. Yeah. Brighton beat them 3-0 today, which I knew that happened. I knew Brighton would just play right through them. And West Ham was the same. When we had the 2 good seasons, well, obviously you can't say the ball haven't invested. They have, but whether they've invested in the right players or not.
It's a funny thing with Brighton, quickly, because there are a lot of people going, "Oh, I'd love Potter. You know, Brighton without Potter haven't nosedived. They've got better.
Because the clubs run properly from the top.
I said this.
It's not the manager. It's the way the club is set up.
I've said this before. I've said this before. And my take was, I wanted Potter before he went to Chelsea. But then when you see that, you know, obviously Brighton haven't struggled. They're in a sense they've got better. It makes you realise that when you've got a club like Brighton, who, as I understand it, you know, they run like a business. They've got analytics centres that, you know, that fucking find players and fine tune the ones that they've got. They've got a director of football. The coach is the coach, and that is just a piece of the puzzle. Yes. When that bloke leaves, they just bring another one in of the same type, and then it just starts working again.
Well, do you want some hot off the news press?
Yeah. Please.
So there's rumours going round of a board meeting.
Oh,
right. Hold up.
There he is.
This has been the big ITK, and the ITK's chat people, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're
both of the opinion nothing's happening.
Yeah.
And there's a text saying, club say news to us.
What's that? Sorry, say it again.
So the club are going, well, that's news to us about a board meeting. Now, when I say
what's hot off the press then?
Well, hot off the press is the club bit of information. That's news to us. It's going round. KUMB have put out that there's a board meeting tonight. People put it in the chat. KUMB saying there's a board meeting tonight. Yeah. Oh. Well, the club have been.
So breaking news, nothing's happening, is what you're saying.
Basically, yeah.
Oh, thanks, Nigel. Cheers.
I knew that would cheer you up, Nick. Nick, the thing is, the bottom line is, whatever you think about Moyes, it's not working. It hasn't worked for a long time. So what have you got to lose by changing it now? You've got to change it. I said to you earlier, I think if you brought another manager in, you see a big improvement in the players. And what really worries me, baffles me is, surely the board must have some contact with the players. And if
I said this earlier. I said the same thing earlier.
And surely Declan Rice or one of the 2 of the senior players like Bonner, if the players really are fed up with Moyes, and after all, you can see what he's got today. Ben Rama on the bench again. I mean, I just can't get my head around how can your best player all season not be starting? And you're playing Suchek, he's been out of form for over a year. Creswell back in the team again. And I think the board must know, surely, if he has got the dressing room, then change the manager and you're going to see an improvement in the players. Yeah. It's happening at Forest, it's happening at Villa, it's happening at Wolves, it's happening to a lot of the clubs. They're all picking up points and we're down there, you know, and it worries me because unless we get a win next week, and even if we win, we've then got these 3 really difficult games coming up. I just don't know what they're playing at really, because the Moyes has been on, he should have gone before the World Cup. We all said that. All right, they kept him on. But these games that were just Leeds, the Wolves games, the games that were winnable, and we've done nothing about it. You know, we're still in the same position now.
If we were to lose against Everton, right, and he did get the sack, I don't see who they're going to get in anyway. They're not going to go and get a permanent manager. They're not. It's all about sticky plaster situation. They just get managers in because they run it like a shit show. There's gaping.
We're constantly in crisis management.
It's a short. What do you call it? Short-termism from the board, from the owners. So that's why they only get in a certain type of manager to sticky plaster type managers.
But that's their mantra. Look at, and this is the thing. Why are people? I don't know why people moan or surprised. Look at the way they run Birmingham City.
I'm not surprised. Yeah? I'm not surprised.
This is something I've always said about them. Look at the way they run Birmingham City. Yes. And the funny thing is, when they run Birmingham City, they got relegated, and at both times they allowed that manager to bring them back up.
Right, 1 minute. Sharky, you sent us a super chat, mate. I'm going to stop using that other software now, and I'll only use StreamYard for these live shows, especially after that fucking thing earlier on. When I'm using that software and you send a super chat, it doesn't pop up, so I don't see it. But yeah, thank you very much, mate. Thanks for sending that through.
Does that mean I don't have to go out in the cab tomorrow?
What's that for?
The super chat.
The super chat. Yeah.
No, it means you can work City Airport instead of.
But yes, sorry, mate. I won't use that software anymore. So yeah, thank you very much for sending that through.
Oh dear.
But yeah, so I don't know. Look, this is all getting fucking exhausting now.
I'm going to clip that, Nick.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous situation we're in, isn't it? It's ridiculous. You know what? It's almost laughable.
Yeah. Well, I don't.
Really?
Well, the thing is, Nigel, I don't know. I can't. I sincerely can't. In my head, logically, we said it earlier on. In a football sense, it doesn't make sense, and in a business sense, even if Sullivan doesn't give a damn about the football, but he cares about the business, there is nothing about this that makes sense. Nothing makes sense.
The same as it doesn't make sense what Moyes is doing. It's almost like they're as bad as each other to some extent. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
The weird thing is the weird one is Kretinsky, because at the end of the day, people keep looking at Kretinsky, and all right. Gold's gone. Gold's family's still there. Will Gold's family, Gold and Sullivan had a deal, yeah. Always together. No matter the fact how they didn't, they weren't mates.
Yeah.
Don't ever think they were mates. They weren't. They were business people. So will this Gold family can Kretinsky, because Kretinsky's got to be worried, yeah, because he's paid top dollar. Yeah, it ain't like Gold and Sullivan.
Nigel, can I interject?
Him 50 quid.
I said something earlier on. 1 minute. This is a conspiracy theory. This is just me thinking out loud, trying to think why they would be doing this. Do you think that because Kretinsky's basically come in, he's thrown a load of money into it, is there any way that Sullivan could be trying to force his hand?
No, I don't. You don't do it this way. And the funny thing is he's putting his Chinese order in, isn't he?
Fucking hell. Hang on. I'll mute him for a minute. Right, he's muted. Oh, go on.
So, I mean, off the field, people vung their rats on this March 23 thing. Are they looking to sell? Loads of people told you, But the funny thing is, from day one, they've always said, we'll never sell. Gold always said, my shares will stay with me till I die.
Yeah.
He didn't expect to die before 2023, though, to be fair to him. And that they will go to my family. That's exactly what's happened. Sullivan's always said, well, I'm always happy for another. From day one, they've turned around and said, we would like other investors, but they want to remain at the club. So,
yeah.
And this is the thing, it's quite possible that Kretinsky is the man who's come and said, I'll invest in the club. He invests in lots of business and he leaves it to the other people to run the club. He's a minority investor. So I'm second guessing here because I can only go on the information that I've seen. In that he's happy to let Sullivan run the club. Sullivan likes it because actually he's a minority now, shareholder, but he's still got control of the club, hasn't he?
Yeah.
We're still talking about Sullivan running the club when actually, if all the other shareholders ganged up, they could vote him down. But they don't, do they? Because they're all in it together.
No. Nigel, I'm going to say to you, taking your point earlier, last point before I go, we've got to find a system now that, because it's interesting what you said about the defence, where we're obviously not scoring goals, and obviously, if this is true what we're saying, we've got to find a system where we can be more attack-minded. But, I mean, if you think of the first choice back four, if you've got Zuma in there with a Gerd, Johnson left back, maybe Sefel right back. Surely.
1 second. Look, Craven's getting upset. Can you loaf it? Can you loaf it out, please, with all of the Warburton?
No, the joke.
Comments,
yeah,
please?
the joke. No, he's right though. The jokes have gone stale. So let's all stop.
They have. Yeah, please, come on.
Warburton likes to blow his own crumpet anyway, so we've got to ignore him.
Right, go on, Gary. Sorry, mate.
It's large crumpet.
Like I say, we've got to find a system now where we can start scoring goals. And obviously, if the back four, I think Zuma and Gerd as a pair, with if you put Johnson at left back and maybe Safel right back, who's been a little bit better, I think, maybe that is the way, we've got to find a system where we can start to push forward and score more goals. Because obviously at the moment we're just not scoring, are we? Like we said earlier, it's so in front of us, it's so obvious. How many games have we not scored in this season? I'd like to know. Must be loads of games we lost 1-0 this year. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Only on one.
Yeah, you're not. Sorry, John. You're not having your Chinese.
We could hear you earlier on talking fucking. It was a Black Country placed his order as well, further up.
Oh, I've got
he
the
wanted
kids
chicken.
on my
He
own,
wanted
I'm
chicken
doing their
nuggets.
dinner. Shut
Yeah.
up, you muppets. Hang on. I ain't going to work Monday either.
There we go.
I'm not
Thank you
going to
very
work
much.
Monday.
I hate people like that. How can he come on and say that?
What? Well, no, Nigel, look, he feels cleansed now. You say the same thing. Nigel, say, Nick, you was right all along. God.
And he's paid for it. And he's paid for the privilege.
He's paid a
like you're some
fiver
sort
to
of
say that.
counsellor.
Thank you very much, mate. I appreciate
What's
that.
your name? Keith. Bloody hell.
Takes a big man to admit when you was wrong. It does.
Listen, it takes a big-headed man to keep crowing when he was right.
Right, Nick's face when he had the ball meeting was like he saw a pair of boobs, but then he saw the balls when Nigel gave him the information.
So, well, look, at the end of the day, we are where we are. We go to Everton.
Yeah.
I'd ask the fans, look, forget fucking Burnley type things and whatever. Get behind the team. And at the end of the day, if it's a bad result, and when I say a bad result, anything less than a win.
I'm still going to say it. I am going to be utterly fucking gobsmacked if he's still here for that Everton game. I know what people are saying. Mate, he can't be. He can't be.
Why can't he be? The board have got nothing.
He can't still
the
be here.
They've got no plan in place. They haven't gone and done any interviews.
Nick, quickly.
Wankers they are. They are. That little Russian wearing fucking...
They're lazy.
Nick, normally when you act in haste, you will promote someone, from inside the club.
They'll still do that.
But this is the thing. Have a look, though.
What?
Yeah, who is there to promote? Do you
From
really?
within?
That is what I'm saying. Even look lower down. Are we saying Noble can come in and manage this team? Colton Cole's at the club. Should we get Team Noble up with Colton Cole?
Konchesky's there.
Yeah, well,
Who's managing the under-18s?
Kevin Keane.
Get him in. We've won 12 games, 12 wins.
I think Kevin Keane's had 3 cracks as caretaker manager. I still don't think he's won a game.
All right, Nigel, don't put
this is the thing, though, isn't it?
That's a bit harsh.
This is the
no
thing.
one there.
This is the thing.
No one there.
This is the thing. If
I've done me badges.
If the players are not playing for Moyes, if the players are not playing for Moyes anymore, then even like one of these guys from inside the club would maybe get a feel-good factor around the club again. Because we don't know exactly how bad it is, do we, in the dressing room? We don't know.
No. But I don't really understand. I'm not saying we would have won the game with him, right? But I think someone said it yesterday. Why on earth have we allowed Wolverhampton Wanderers to dictate to us that Dawson can't play, as it seems? Now, I'm not saying we would have won with him, but what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
You got.
Yeah.
No, I don't agree with that. He's still our employee.
There's more
plays
to
for the
Dawson.
club.
Yeah, but no, and I tell you,
He wouldn't have changed the game. I'm just saying. Like, I don't get that.
Well, he might have done because he might have got to the ball
maybe.
in front of the central defenders who didn't get to the ball when it broke to him on the edge. But the problem you got is with him. Let's just say we know he's going to go to Wolves. Yeah,
we know
so
that,
here you got a central defender.
Yeah.
Who, if we beat Wolves,
Yeah.
it puts them more in relegation trouble.
Yeah.
And he helps us beat Wolves, and he's then going to go to the club.
So
you can't
we're paying
have
his wages.
Yeah, but you can't. But then what if he thinks
we're paying his wages now, as of today?
Right,
So he
but
shouldn't
what
be
would
paying
people?
for us.
Hold up. What would people?
Yeah,
have
you're
said?
right. You're right, John. John's right.
I
How
know
much
what
are we
you're
going to get for
saying,
Dawson?
Nige.
No. What if Dawson?
How much are we going to get for Dawson anyway? How much are we getting for
4
Dawson
million.
anyway?
4 million, isn't it?
One.
So I agree with John. He's our player. I wouldn't give a shit about them, you know.
You do, because I'll tell you why. If Dawson makes a mistake,
Listen. Dawson ain't been great this year. He was at fault for those 2 goals against Leeds.
He could have made a mistake, let the goal scored, Yeah.
Conflicts of interest.
And people would have been screaming, yeah, look at him, he's going to fucking Wolves. No wonder he let him score.
Do that if, well.
You telling me that wouldn't have happened? The club.
Yeah, but if you really think that someone like Dawson would purposely let a goal in, then you ain't.
I'm not saying no. I'm saying he could have done a genuine mistake, but it wouldn't stop. You know how the internet works. Jesus Christ, 50% of Fruit Loops.
Yeah,
I know. But anyway, Gary, we'll close this. I've got one more. I've got one more call, Gary, that I want to make before we close up. So thank you very much. All right, cheers, mate. Thanks, Gary.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate.
Ciao, mate. Take care. Bye-bye.
Right, we're gonna cheer you all up now.
It's not, is it? It's not. It
what?
ain't, is it?
No.
What do you mean?
I know who's coming on.
So get the fucking Irish music on.
Who is it?
Who is it? Get my tin whistle out. Hold up.
Hang on.
Oh no, I know you mean.
Here we go.
Fucking Nick's right hand man.
Number are barred from
I'm barred.
Yeah, you're barred, Barger.
Yeah.
How comes I can't call him? That's because he's in Ireland. Why can't I call him? Calls to this number are barred.
Tommy's had enough of you.
Fuck.
He said, fuck him off. I don't want to talk to him.
Nick ain't got international calls. It's only Ireland, Nick. It ain't Australia.
It's all right, don't worry. I can WhatsApp him. It's all good.
Someone said ring Sean, ruin his posh dinner.
Mate, he's in a fucking £350 a night hotel down to an insurance company because his boiler's fucked.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. That's exclusive news for you, people.
You might as well tell everyone the name of the hotel as well. You've given them enough information.
Yeah, I don't actually. I have got the name of the hotel.
Right, we've got Tommy on the line. Tommy, how are you?
Really off, mate, to be honest. Yeah, just happy-go-lucky me.
Ignore Nigel. He's just got the ump because
Nigel's yeah. Nigel's unflappable. You know,
he is.
We could get successive relegations to League Two, and Nigel's tone wouldn't change whatsoever.
No. I mean, Nigel's fine. It is dinner time, but he's so full of humble pie. He can't manage his dinner.
I am fucking hungry.
He's so full of humble pie. He can't manage his dinner, so he's fine. But anyway, Tommy.
Look at him. Look, he's a fucking comedian. Laughs at his own jokes.
I know. Fuck off. Right, sorry, Tommy. Go on, tell us what you think, mate. Come on.
Yeah, look, today was entirely predictable. Moyes reverted to type, as I think we all probably suspected he would.
Yep.
Went back to the old guard. You know, he's got Antonio, Fornals, Souček, all playing. We've scored 15 goals in 19 games. This is not something new. This has been going on for a while. We've been struggling for goals for a long time.
Yeah.
Moyes had 6 weeks to work with the players during the World Cup break, try and figure out a system where we could be a bit better in the final third. But it's clear to see that he hasn't got a goals.
No.
And you know, teams are so confident against us that they can keep us out of their net. That, you know, Brentford came to our place and literally just let us have the ball. Just there you go, have the ball, have it in our half. We don't care. We don't believe you can score a goal against us when we've got numbers back and we're well organised. And they just planned on hitting us on the counter-attack, and it worked. You know, even up against Leeds, who are always going to come forward against you more and play a more open game. But the goals we got there, one was a silly challenge from one of their defenders that has gifted us a penalty, and the other one was an assist Leeds player.
No, we're definitely struggling from open play. We are.
Yeah.
We're struggling
from open play. I mean, if you've got 15 goals in 19 games, you know, you're banging trouble. We don't concede an awful lot.
No.
We're okay defensively, but going forward, we saw again getting good positions. You know, we do. It's not like we never have possession. We do get in games. We get some good possession. We're able to bring it out of our own half, get into our opponent's half, even get in the final third. But once we get there, we don't really have a clue what to do with the ball or how to open teams up. We're too slow and laboured to really hit teams on the counter anymore.
Yeah.
We're not really a threat on the counter whatsoever. And even when we've got good possession in the final third and we've got players up the field, we just really don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to pull teams out of shape. Don't know how to create really good scoring opportunities. You know, we've got a lot of half chances and shots from range and that. You know, we dump crosses into the box that don't have any real end product. Not guided crosses. Then hope someone might get on the end of one of them, and it's really poor. And I don't see at this point that Moyes will be able to fix that. If he hasn't been able to do it up to now,
I think it's gone beyond that. I think we're even past the analysis stage. I think we've even gone beyond looking at games, what went wrong, because the same thing goes wrong every week. His selections, everything else. We know what's wrong with Moyes. It's just a case of how long is the fucker going to be here so that we can move on. That's the question. So it isn't going to work, because even if he does, like I've already said, even if he does go and get a result against Everton, it proves fuck all, because Everton are just as bad as us. It proves nothing, because then you know that this is going to happen again. He's had several dead cat bounces this season. You know, you could call the Leeds game a dead cat bounce. You know, after Everton earlier on, we had Fulham. He does. He wins the odd game, but it never kicks on. It never kicks on. We're always going to revert back because he's a negative Nelly when it comes to football. He just is. It's the way it is. And
I think, you know, even like you say, if we get 3 points against Everton, let's assume that for a second, and we certainly can't in reality. But let's assume for a second we beat Everton.
Yeah.
You know, we're still only going to be on 18 points at 20 games.
Yeah.
He won't get sacked. If he doesn't get sacked after today, he certainly won't get sacked if we beat Everton.
No.
And so then we go into a much trickier series of fixtures. It's hard to believe we'll get anything up at Newcastle the way they're playing. You know, obviously then we play Tottenham. We've got Tottenham away. I think we've got Chelsea at home. Chelsea might have a new manager.
Yeah.
You know, hard to see after that point where the points are coming from. You know, if we end up, 25 games in, and we're on, 21, 22 points or something like that, we're really, really in trouble.
We are.
Point, if he does get sacked, any new manager coming in is going to have to change things up. You'd hope we'd get a new manager bounce, like an instant reaction, but you don't necessarily get that. Sometimes it can take a manager a little while to implement what he wants to implement. And he's already going to be looking at the games are running out already, and we're under pressure, and we need wins, and we need them badly. And I just worry that even if we get that win next week, and it buys Moyes another 3 or 4 games, and then he gets sacked, a new manager might not be able to save us.
Yeah, but Tommy, so what do you do then in that case? Because we've spoken earlier on about the types of manager that you get in. I would love, for me, Poch and Tuchel would be the types of manager No, let me finish. I'm going to say they're not. I'm going to say we're not going to.
Sorry.
But they're the types of managers that could come in because they're good enough and they could change our style and they could find a happy medium. I'm pretty certain that they would push us on up the league. However, I don't think we're going to get that type of manager. I think that's been proven now. So we've got 2 options. We've either got the Sean Dyche sticky plaster manager, or we've probably got a bit of a risk to take.
I've got a good one.
So what do you do?
I've got a good one. I've got a good one. Yeah. So if we look at it, Villa and Wolves upturn. Yeah, Villa have gone and got the best Europa League manager there's ever been. Yeah, in Dick Emery, and then you got Lopetegui, who, to be honest, who thought he'd go to Wolves? No, yeah, because I never did. So they've jumped quick. They're picking up points. I see a stat today. Apparently, since Emery's turned up, Aston Villa took more points than any other team in the Premier League. So I didn't want to say that earlier.
Really?
Nick Bed would have fucking exploded.
Yeah.
In I Told You So. But anyway, so what we need to do, we need to look at Spain.
Just makes it up.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, there's a manager out there who's been doing really fucking well. He won the cup with Real Betis last year. And I really think if he comes in, perhaps we could do something because he's a born winner. So if you look up who the Real Betis manager is, people, I'm telling you.
Pellegrini, is that what you're saying? Yeah. Mate, I've already said this. I wasn't for sacking Pellegrini.
No, neither was I. But
I actually wasn't.
He wasn't given enough time to.
Fucking Roberto. I know he signed him, but Roberto was the one that sunk in.
Yeah.
It was.
He wasn't given enough time to turn it around. So you got to go left field, I think, if you're going to do it.
Yeah, no, I think so. But anyway, Tommy, what we're going to go on, mate.
Yeah, I definitely don't want to see us going down the sticky plaster route. I don't want to see us go for Dyche on the basis that he'll maybe keep us up. I think you have to still be thinking long term. I think any good manager who comes in, even if it's a more progressive manager who plays a more open attacking style of football, it doesn't mean he won't keep us up. There's this notion, we need someone who's going to come in who's going to get us playing this hard to beat, dour kind of shit.
Yeah.
I don't believe we need that kind of manager, and I don't want that kind of manager.
No.
I mean, we've seen, if Villa can go out in their situation, if they can go out and get Emery, if Wolves can go out and get Lopetegui or whatever his name is, but these are really good, highly renowned managers who've taken over at struggling clubs in the Premier League. This crap that the board have been talking,
Tom,
really
what you're missing there,
you're
missing there, Tom, is that Gerrard had only been at Villa for a year, hadn't had time to get his feet under the table, and didn't have any semi-success in the bank. And Wolves manager had only been in the job recently as well, had no previous success in the bank. Like it or not, and people may shout me down or whatever, David Moyes is
look at
coming
what he's
in.
done.
No, but that was, Nick, money in the bank. And
but he's spent that. He's in debit now.
Oh yes, no, I will agree with you there. That's gone. Yeah,
yes.
That's all run out. It's time to deliver or fuck off, basically,
I know.
bluntly. But what I'm saying is, that is the reason why. It was easier for Villa to do that. It was easier for Wolves to do that. Frankly, if this was happening after Moyes had only been at the club for 12 months, so halfway through his first full season, when we finished sixth, but if we were sitting in his position, I'd imagine they'd have sacked Moyes then because there was nothing. But quite rightly, in my opinion, loyalty does buy you time when it don't work.
Yeah, but then this is taking the piss.
Well, that's the time frame is up for debate, not the phrase that I used.
Well, see, it depends on when. You see, the thing I'll counter that, Nigel, is it depends when you start the clock running. For me, the clock started running at the beginning of last year, not at the beginning of this season.
But it don't, because we play in seasons, not in years. So the clock don't start running. I'm afraid it don't, because what they look at as well is in the summer, cleared out half the squad, brought in another new half squad. So actually, half of this squad is different so the failing squad of this last half of the year is different from the failing squad of the first half of the year. What is the same is about 7-8 of the players are underperforming, and obviously the manager, even the coaching staff has changed.
Yeah.
I
know. Right, Tommy,
yeah,
do you want...
I'm just...
Go on, mate. What we're going to do...
I agree with you, Nigel. Sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, I said we're going to wrap this one up, mate. So give us close it on one...
to agree with me.
Close it on one last point. Please don't make it... Please don't agree with Nigel. So we'll...
That was going to be a moment.
I know. But all I'm saying is one more point, mate, because I'm getting screamed at downstairs. I've got to go for my dinner.
Oh, hello.
Okay, last point is, I've made it before. Sorry?
What's that? No, go on, mate.
I've said it before and I'll just say it again. I've said all I can say about Moyes because I'm just parroting what I've been saying for weeks now. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. As soon as the board decided to back him instead of sack him when we broke up for the World Cup, from that moment on, the board were carrying the can for every result we get. The situation that we find ourselves in. I'm no longer interested in Moyes' tactics or what formation he picks or what players he starts. He's going to do what he does. It's all he knows. He's incapable of change. As far as I'm concerned, now, this is on the board and nobody else. They had the opportunity to do what they should have done, and they didn't do it. They decided, we're going to back him. Okay, fine, back him, but you're carrying the can now. And that's it. And the fact that we've come back from this break and we've had these 4 games, we've got 1 point, is on them, not on Moyes, in my opinion. So as far as I'm concerned, this is on the board now. On their heads be it.
Yeah.
Every week that he's still in charge and that we keep losing games.
Yeah. I agree, mate. I couldn't disagree with you there at all.
Yeah.
I love this one. Look, just quickly.
Go on.
Rumour has it, new manager is lined up for 1 minute after the transfer window closes.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I did say that it would go to the Everton game, and partly there ain't money. He'd spent all the money. Yeah. So if a new manager came in now, he'd be holding his hand out. So that's one less week.
But to be fair, we do need cover in a few areas, don't we? We do need cover. But the fullbacks as well.
Well, you can get through that. You can get through.
Nigel, can I ask Nigel?
Situation, I agree.
Yeah.
Go on, Tommy.
Nigel, can I just put something to Nigel one quickly? The fact that the board did back him and said they would give him, the World Cup break to work with the players and try and turn things around.
Yeah.
Do you think the reason he hasn't been sacked yet is because if they were to back him like that and then sack him 3 games later, that they would have an awful lot of egg on their face?
Possibly. I think it's quite possible that there was a friendship there before. There was an admiration of Moyes before he came to the club. Yeah, and that's why they turned to him. And that's why they turned back to him. So let's get this right and forget David Gold. Sullivan probably had an admiration for the what Moyes did at Everton. Looked at West Ham as a similar club to Everton, which is quite funny, really, this season. I know you shouldn't laugh, but actually, he's probably right there, isn't it? Because we're both shit. There is that possible friendship as well that masks it, that they actually like the bloke. Think the all telling comment is which was said, is true and was said, that actually if we was in this mess and we didn't have David Moyes, we'd be looking to hire David Moyes. I think that tells you everything you need to know
about the bloke who's coming in.
Well, I don't know about the bloke that's coming in, but the mindset of the ownership. I don't know if Gold Dine has changed it. Someone did ask who's got his shares. Sullivan's daughters have got his shares, and Jackie Gold's husband is on the board. Dan Cunningham is his name. It's all been done and dusted. The notice is in. He's the director of the club, and he will control the voting rights of the shares for the daughters.
Right.
Yeah, well, it could be that in by the time we play Everton, that they'll have taken Sean Dyche off the table, for us. They could sack Lampard and bring in someone like Dyche.
I tell you, I don't think Everton will pull the trigger because today's protest
was against the ball,
and the fans have said all along, this is not against the manager. This is not against the players. So actually, that sort of plays into Lampard's hand, because if they were Lampard out. West Ham have done it before. Boards hate being unpopular. Gold and Sullivan wanted to be loved. When they bought the club, and the move was all about making them the heroes. They wanted to be the returning heroes, and it all went sour in their face, and it blew up, and they didn't like it. That's how they wanted to be perceived.
I think actually. Yeah, I think, Nigel, the Everton fans are coming from the same point of view that I expressed just now, in that it's not the manager for them that's carrying the can for all this. It's the people upstairs. They hired him. Yeah. They still have him in place. They're not running the club properly. Lampard is not good enough for the job, obviously, but that's not on Lampard. It's on the board.
Did you hear the rallying cry? Because obviously, look, we've had our players come out. You've had the likes of we've heard Noble come out when he was just before he came into his job doing his little rounds on the media, and then you've had Declan Rice that came out. Did you hear Connor Cody's heartfelt kind of testimony to Lampard when he went on TalkSport? That was proper. That was from the heart. That weren't scripted.
Yeah, they loved it.
And he basically turned around and said, "This is not on Lampard. This is on the players. This is us. When we go out on that pitch, there is only so much a manager can do. This is us."
I would say a lot of it is the same as West Ham.
Look, that's all very noble and everything, but I don't buy into that stuff. I think, look, realistically, you can't change a squad of players, in the course of a couple of weeks. You're going to have to change the manager and see if he can get more of a tune out of these players. I mean, it's as simple as that. It's very noble of Conor Cody to say that. The players probably have a very good personal relationship with Lampard. Maybe they really like him and they feel bad that they're not performing better and they're not getting better results. And, and it's fair enough that they take some personal responsibility. I appreciate that. But that wouldn't really change how I feel about anything. We've had West Ham players come out and talk about how much they like David Moyes. That's fine. I quite like David Moyes as a person. I think he's a decent bloke. But ultimately, it's about results, and it always comes back to one person. And, it's far easier to change a manager than a squad of players, unfortunately, for him. And so we've just got to try something different. And I think Everton will come to the point where they feel they just have to try something different, regardless of how much the players like the manager or how much they're behind him. You've just got to pull the trigger at some point.
Yes, and what's harder to take is Mandy pointing out that Fulham, Brighton and Brentford are 6th, 7th and 8th.
I know. Shocking, isn't it? Shocking.
So,
do you think
the question asked by Dan about how they vote on the shares? I'll quickly say it. So basically, over 50% have to agree to sack the manager. So therefore, Dave Sullivan on his own could not sack David Moyes. Yeah, because Sullivan don't own 51% of the shares now. Kretinsky cannot go in and go, I want you to sack the manager. Yeah, if Gold's shares, the Gold family shares and Sullivan's shares say, no, we're going to hold fire, then you got the minorities. But this is the thing. Kretinsky with the Golds, with Terry Brown, with the Harris family and Trip Smith, yeah, they can all go, we want to sack the manager. Sullivan, nothing he can do about it because the ownership of the club is the shareholders.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
No,
if the shareholders say he goes, he goes.
That is fine. Right.
Yeah. Well, I can't imagine they're feeling too good about this. They've got to be feeling nervous. I mean, relegation financially would be disastrous.
Zamaz89 quickly said, who gets Gold's voting power? I say it. His daughters now own David Gold's share equally. They've appointed Jackie Gold's husband, Dan Cunningham, has been appointed to the board. It's all been ratified. He now sits on the board of West Ham. Yeah. And he will then control I think it was only 12 or 15% of the club he was left owning anyway. It weren't a lot. Sullivan was down to 35%. Kretinsky had about 20-odd%. Gold was down to about 15-20%. And then you got the minorities with Trip Smith and the Harris family and that scumbag Terry Brown. Yeah. And Terry Brown will stick like a leech to Sullivan. You can bet your life, people.
Yeah, right, that's fine. Right, Tommy, I'm going to have to wrap this up, mate, because I'm getting increasing pressure from the bottom of my house.
Nick's got to go and feed the puppies. Nick's got to go and feed the puppies, isn't Nick?
I have, yes. But anyway, lovely. Cheers for that call, Tommy. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Tommy.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Right, do you want to whiz through the remaining comments, John, if there is any, and then we'll...
we've covered them all, mate, to be honest with you.
We've done them all?
This is my dog, Nick, my new dog. See, I've called him. See the nodding dog. I've called him Mark Noble.
Shut up, you
Oh, yes.
I know. Yes. Anything you say.
Dog. We're not run like a circus anymore. No.
Missed him this season, haven't we, silly bollocks?
Nigel, does he attack West Ham fans that run on the pitch as well? Does he do that as well? Or?
Do you know, I was on Stelio show last night with ex-WHU employee.
Ooh.
Clang for
was you on with this? Was you on with a special guest?
I was. Hold up.
It's like we had our special guest Sean on before you. Hold
up, because I did put that to him. What still don't know? It was actually you that told me, and I went, hold up a minute, and he went, well, you're the co-host.
Cheers, Jimmy. Thank you.
So anyway, but I did, it did sort of try to pull me up about Mark Noble and everything else. But I'll still be grand.
Yeah. Well, look. I think I hope that Noble, because he could have a long career at West Ham if he's single-minded. I hope he is. because if he is, because I can't imagine Sullivan employing anyone that's going to challenge him.
No.
Or Moyes, and the issue is, I would like him to come in with his own mind and try and forge a career for himself based on his own beliefs.
But Sullivan's not going to be there much longer if he's selling it in Easter.
Yeah.
Well, how long
that's
has he
true.
been there?
That's
How
true.
long has he been in the job? No more.
Who?
About fucking 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Well, look, I think he's only got about another 4 weeks, and he's lasted longer at West Ham than he did at Harvard. So
You're missing the point. Oh my God, this is a whole nother show. You lot have really got he's the last link between West Ham, the club, and the fans, and he needs to be there. End of story.
I said that last night to X, and he was going, what's birth or whatever got to do with it? Because I turned around and said the only thing I would, if I'm going to say something about Noble, is we need a player that was brought up in the club, brought up in the area, that lived, breathed, and died it. And you have to keep that connection. And
I think every club needs that.
I do, because you lose sight. At the end of the day, West Ham was formed. Yeah. You know, West Ham as an area existed long before the football club. But I know that may shock a lot of people, but
yeah,
it's not a made-up place.
We better go because Nick's going to get
everyone before you go. Thank you very much tonight. The chat's been brilliant, and do you know what? Considering it is tempers are running high at the moment and stuff like that. I hope this little group therapy session has made you feel a little bit better. But yeah, if you can, before you go, please drop a like on the video for us if you can. That would be great.
And I'm still being told no board meeting, no matter what people are saying.
Oh, shut up with your rubbish exclusives. That ain't exclusive.
That was the worst bit of exclusive news.
That's still going on. I'm still getting it because people are still throwing out
shit news.
UMB.
Shit news.
Nick physically was
it's a battle with the ITKs because there's an ITK. People in KUMB are saying there's a board meeting tonight. Yeah, other ITKs, more than one, including the biggest, saying they don't know of it. So let's see what happens.
Well, I'm an ITK and I'm going to say nothing's happening. All right?
Let's just say, all I do is, because if the bloke on KUMB's right, I may love it more. The fact that them people are wrong. So,
sorry, Black Country. We tried to cheer you up, mate. We tried to cheer you up. Sharky, I'm going to thank you again for your super chat. Sorry about that earlier on, mate.
You can send it back to him after he said that about Noble. Send it back to him.
Right, that's it. That's us done. Nigel, thanks for jumping on, mate.
Cheers, Nigel.
Yeah, second best, but I won't hold it against her.
Well, we had the special guest on first, and we went from there.
We had another ITK on who gave us no information.
It was fucking absolutely pointless. Absolutely pointless. Cheers, Sean.
My point
Thanks, mate.
You should have just got me on then. Why waste your time with him? It's not
like
he was watching the show.
John texted me and he said, "Don't ask the monkey, go straight to the organ grinder." That's what he texted me.
Nigel knows I wouldn't say that. You've got Sean's direct number, Nick. I don't listen to you ever.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much. And that was a long. That's 2 hours and 40 minutes in total with the one that I fucked up at the start. So yeah, we shall see you. I've labelled the other one part 1. So we've got part 1 in this show. So it's all done. All right, everyone. See you later, Nigel.
Adios,
Virgil.
Come on, you Irons.